Board Member Linden.
Commission,
Board
here.
Member O'Rourke.
Here.
Board Member Thomas.
Present.
Vice Chair Hensley.
Here.
Chair Mashad.
Here. Can we all please rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Wow, that was amazing. That's a strong pledge. I like this. I like that. Okay, back to business. We have the approval of the agenda. If there's no modifications that need to be made, I will recommend a motion. Did you have something you want to say, Town Manager?
There were two items.
Oh, I should say Executive Director. My apologies. This is the CRA.
Sorry.
Okay.
Two items on the next agenda.
Okay. So 2 items on the next agenda. But for the CRA agenda, if there are no modifications to be made, I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
So
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any other further discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The approval of the agenda passes unanimously. We have nothing under special presentation and report. However, I do have a public comment card. Actually, I have 2 public comment cards. 4. And again, just to distinguish, this is for the CRA meeting. Okay, so this one is for regular commission, all right? Ms. Taylor, is this for the regular commission meeting? No. This is for the CRA? Okay. So then I will call up first Ms. Kelly Steele. And this is for the CRA CRA meeting, correct, Ms. Steele?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it has to do with park development, right?
I'm sorry?
It has to do with park development.
Yeah, that's CRA.
Hi, Kelly Steele, 301 Lakeshore, also known as Lake Harbor Tower South. And commissioners, town manager, town attorney, thank you for being here and hearing what we have to say. And my thoughts are on the park. I love activity for kids, and we're all about anything for kids to do besides stay home and play video games and watch television. So love the idea of having parks. I understand that we are having the splash pad to be developed at Kelsey Park, which I think is a fantastic idea. In fact, we took our kids to the zoo on Labor Day, our grandkiddos, I should say, and there were so many kids playing in the splash pad, so that was a really big hit. My personal opinion is, as much as we have going on right now with the town and so many fires to put out from our last town manager, I'm not really sure what your timeline is right now, but I would just ask that the commission really consider the timeline on the community center in the park versus if we're already going to do a splash pad over at Kelsey Park. So I would just like the commission to consider the timeline and how much it's really going to cost to launch the first phase of the community center at the park. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Taylor.
Yes, Kelly kind of took a stand before I did. My throat's not too good today, so forgive me if I'm a little bit hoarse. Good evening. Please consider communicating with the town residents before spending $117,230 on Phase 1 of 4 for public engagement and design of a community center in Burt Bostrom Park. I do remember a brief request to fund a community center, but to my knowledge, there has been no public workshop or shared written information regarding the large proposed project or an official commission vote. The town population, 9,000, is now experiencing ongoing, growing, stressful, and legal situations. The addition of another risky building project at this time doesn't seem wise. The recent visit and update from our state representatives presented a bleak outlook for our near future. I'm asking the Commission to consider the many pros and cons of initiating a massive long-term debt before even sharing basic information such as estimated cost of construction, operational and maintenance expenses with all town residents. It's not that hard to find out local information. I have spoken to people who live and work in North Palm Beach, the population's 14,000, about their community center. And the acreage, population 60,000, would like to build a community center, and it has for a long time, but it's challenged primarily by high construction costs and their community and infrastructure priorities. A lot to discuss at a Saturday workshop before spending money on another outside study. Thank you for your consideration of this time. I still have a little time left, so excuse me, please. I did hear there's another community center that was built in, I think it was Great Falls, Montana, and about a year or so ago. They haven't been in it too long, and they're already far in debt, where they had to take money out of the town. I think it was $300,000 last year, and they expect they'll need another $4,000 this year. They are a large community. I think it was like 60,000, but there's an outside area that builds it up to 80,000 because there's a lot of military personnel and a lot of young people in that community. So they are struggling there. I don't think it would be hard, excuse me, to find information before hiring another firm at $117,000 to maybe come up with some information that wasn't as pertinent to our situation
Thank you
as
very
what
much,
we
Ms.
might
Taylor.
find. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
For your consideration of this matter.
Next, we have the consent agenda. I will entertain a motion to approve consent. From
I
any of-
move to approve the consent agenda.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a first and a second. Any other further discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The consent passes unanimously. We have two items on new business. The first one is Resolution 530925, Phase 1 Master Plan Agreement of Burt Bostrom Park with Wanamaker Jensen Architects for $117,230. And I will move this over to Ms. Allison Justice, who will begin.
Good evening, Board Chair, Board members. Allison Justice, CRA Administrator. I want to address a couple of items, but first of all, our consultant, Wanamaker Jensen, is here tonight, so if you have any questions about the proposal, I'm happy to answer. This, to be clear, is for Phase 1 of a master plan for the entire park in Burt Bostrom. It does not include a community center. It includes whatever the public outreach is going to determine is needed in that park. It will provide costs for the proposals of different amenities in the park. And out of Phase 1, we hope to you're going to get a couple of options for site plans on what the future development of the park would be. With the new turf, with the new field, there is a field there, but the rest of the park is not programmed. We do have the ball fields are gone. We do have the playground now, but the rest of the park does need to be developed. So this is to, with the community, create that master plan. So this is for public engagement and the creation of the master plan for Phase 1 of this design for Burt Bostrom.
Okay, and again, to repeat, you said this is with public involvement.
This is the public involvement phase, a thorough public involvement in what the community wants to see in their park. And if they would like to see a community center, yes, it is on their. They do have the team to be able to analyze that and analyze the costs. We have looked into the cost in the past, and we've presented that to this board, but that is part of this process. There is nothing set in stone. This is for the master plan of the park.
I just like hearing the part about the public involvement. Okay. Do we have any questions for Ms. Justice? Board Member Linden.
what exactly is the master plan going to consist of?
It will consist of whatever of a lot of the public input. So what the public says they would like to see in the park, whether that's basketball courts, pickleball courts, a community center, whatever the community input they gather, that is going to be what the community says is what's going to drive this. There's going to be a couple options because sometimes we can and can't get everything that we want, but that's going to be part of the process. They'll cost all of that out, so you then can make a decision on how you want to move forward with future amenities in that park. Just as we're doing with Kelsey Park right now and adding the splash pad, that was in the master plan, and we're just moving it forward, moving that master plan forward.
When do you project the first public discussion on this to be?
Well, this is the approval of the contract, so we will get them started right away on the public engagement. That is the first part of their process. So I would anticipate, and I don't know if Werner, you know the timeline at all, but I would anticipate within the next month we can start community engagement.
Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Allison.
Gloria, Vice Chair.
Vice Chair, sorry. Question, out of the 117, I know we received the grant. Does that grant include that, or would this be part of residents? Would the resident have any effect from this 117?
No, this is CRA TIF funding. This is not out of a grant. The grant moved over to the Kelsey Park splash pad. So this is CRA TIF funding that is currently in our budget.
So out of this phase, this will come out of CRA, it would not affect the residents
Correct.
at all?
Correct.
Any more questions, Vice Chair? No. Board Member O'Rourke.
So $117,230, what do we get for that?
So if you look at the contract, there is an Exhibit 2, which outlines all of the scope of work for Phase 1, which includes community engagement and the master planning. You will get 2 conceptual site plans for the park at the end of this to be presented to the board to decide again kind of based on community input what the elements of that park would look like. They're also going to do a high-level cost estimate for both construction and operations, because that's important when we talk about what elements are going into the park, what they're going to cost to build and to maintain.
Executive Director.
Allison, when you talk about construction, you mean engineering and construction, right?
Yes. It will be a cost of the overall price, yes.
Board Member O'Rourke, do you have any other questions?
Not right now.
Board Member Thomas, do you have any questions?
Yes. Hello, Allison. I wanted for you to elaborate on the restrictions that are with our CRA funds, and that there's a sunset on the state CRA, okay, so that the public have an understanding of how we can spend these monies, because we are limited in anything that's within the CRA. Those monies must be spent within the CRA, so that we all have a clear understanding of how that's delineated.
Correct.
Okay.
The CRA boundaries, they're, for those that aren't aware, mainly go along Park Avenue and 10th Street, and also include a portion of the industrial area. 2 years ago, we expanded the CRA to include Silver Beach, as well as 10th Street to North Lake, and to include Burt Bostrom Park.
Okay, can I hold you?
No.
My apologies.
No. I was going to say, do we have anything that's readily available that we can maybe pop them to show like what the CRA boundary is? Any map right now that maybe we could just show? Because sometimes it's a little difficult for us to just describe. I mean, you can continue with that and we could just leave it there. But I just wanted to make sure that we understand what those boundaries actually are, and it doesn't include any other parks?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I think Vivian's looking, it is on the website.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Continue, I'm sorry.
That's
Just-
okay,
Just
that's
for
okay.
clarity, just for clarity.
But the majority of what the CRA funds are, it's the removal of some and blight. So it's infrastructure projects. We're getting ready to do some streetscape projects. We can do stormwater projects, the septic to sewer project. These are all hard infrastructure projects that impact the quality of life for the residents. It has to be within the CRA. The increase in property values come back to the CRA and again have to be reinvested. So this is a redevelopment tool to concentrate that redevelopment within the boundaries of the CRA. So the reason that we included Burt Bostrom Park within the boundaries is there is infrastructure that needs to happen there. We can use our funding tool with the CRA to fund improvements within the park. We don't fund everyday improvements such as fire and your everyday services, but it's that infrastructure and those real aesthetic improvements that the CRA can be involved in.
And I guess just to elaborate a little bit more too, that wasn't the park just used to do some stormwater storage for
Yes.
the southern outfall?
Yes, so the southern outfall had the stormwater project, which had to be, obviously they had to rip up to put in this system that they put underneath the park. It is topped with a turf, which you discussed last week about the turf, but that will remain. That is where the multipurpose fields will be, where the turf is. And the master plan will plan around that, as well as, anything that can happen with that turf in those fields.
And I believe you said that was like grade A, like golf course
Yes.
turf?
it's Bahia grass, I believe. so.
Yeah, that's there right now.
Yes.
So the idea really was to try to enhance the park for the overall community,
Correct.
which would then make it like a second park, a second larger park within our town.
Yes.
Okay, because right now, we're looking at areas of where we can have youth programs as well as adult programs where we don't really have a facility that's designated for that, right?
Yes.
Okay, and again, I didn't hear you say regarding when we will no longer have the CRA.
2040.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, 2039.
Yeah, it's like 2040.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's
So we have
like
another 14 years
okay,
of the
where
CRA.
those monies have to be expended
Correct.
in there.
Correct. And also just for the public, the benefit of the CRA, one of the main benefits is we also get county funding. So any increase in property values that come within the CRA, the county ad valorem taxes all go into this agency and can pay for improvements within the town of Lake Park, which is very important.
Right, okay. Thank you.
Okay. They pretty much took my questions right out of my mouth. Board Member Linden.
Thank you. I've got an issue with the amount of money. While the money's there in the CRA, that's a very strange number. And it's hard to project. I didn't see any breakdown in hourly, monthly, weekly. I saw a monthly update in the cost analysis, but I would be curious how they came to that number.
I do have a breakdown in the scope of services for Task 1, Task 2, and Task 3. Task 1 is programming and conceptual site plan design, which is $31,680. Community outreach and the master plan was $68,908. We did ask for significant community outreach. We asked for more than what was originally proposed, so that price is a little higher. And then $6,600 for the cost estimating once they have the master plan. So that's that comes to 107, and then there's a $3,000 allowance for reimbursable expenses, printing, things that they have to do, and then a design contingency of $7,000. So those may or may not be used. Those are based on services we may ask for. For instance, I think that at the end we may ask for a full color rendering out of this, and that would be an additional cost that we would take out of the contingency. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Board Member O'Rourke.
Thank you. So it seems like, from what I'm hearing, the focus is not on youth programs. The focus is on general use of this park by all the residents of the town.
Correct.
Okay. Are we planning to do anything about youth sports in our town or not?
Don't know that that's a question for me.
That's a priority, I believe, of the commission.
No, apparently it's a priority of what's going to happen in the public meeting, right?
The commission will also have a say within the final approval of the master plan at the end.
Okay.
There will be two options to select from at the end. And the community center, again, the reason that it's in here is because it has been expressed, and we wanted to make sure when we selected a team, they had all of the individuals, including the architect, to be able to design this if that is what is chosen moving forward. So we wanted to make sure they had a comprehensive team that they could put together, you know, if the community center becomes part of this master plan.
Yep. Any other questions? And if no other questions, I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 53-09-25.
Do we have a second? I need a second. And then we can have discussion.
Second,
Okay, so now we are here in discussion. So Vice Chair, you look like you had something you wanted to add?
yeah, so the first, I'm just trying to,
Well, it's,
that's okay. Maybe you guys probably, I'm sorry about that, heard it correctly, that the residents will come in and just get an intake of what they would like to see at the park, correct?
Do you want me?
you go ahead, Executive Director.
Sure. Yes, so the idea is to start with the public. What do you want? You know, what could you envision in this field, you know, in this area? Then this consultant will break it down, you know, feel out the community more. Let's get more specific. Then ultimately they'll come up with some ideas based on what the community is saying, what they're asking for, and then it'll come to you all for final approval. If there's things that you all want to see in there, you'll also have that opportunity to also have that included. And then just like with Kelsey Park, you'll have a plan, a long-term plan on what the community wants, what the commission wants, so that you have an idea when funding does come available, just like the $400,000 from CDBG for the splash pad. You go right to that master plan and, okay, the funding's there, let's go forward with that project.
Okay, the workshop will be similar to what we did before with the residents. They come in and get a presentation, and be able to chat
I think
again.
there'll be a lot of different opportunities and ways that the community will be engaged, not just a meeting. I think there'll be other opportunities
And
as
we
well.
will go pretty much what majority of the residents want,
Yeah,
correct?
I think it's going to be, you know, we hear a lot of, hey, we want, you know, a soccer field. You know, I would imagine that's going to be a big comment, you know, for youth sports and activities. That's something that they'll try and fit in, you know, they'll hear that, they'll weigh that, and then how does that fit in with the other ideas that the community wants?
Which we had once before in the Lake Park, soccer fields, football fields, and right at Boston. So I kind of like that idea.
Well, we're going to have a team, so we need a field for our team.
I'm washed.
Commissioner, Board Member Linden.
Thank you. I'm trying to wrestle my hands around this because the consultant has no idea what we want or what we're looking for. So we're paying him way up front, and we haven't even got a conceptual idea of what we want. So it's very difficult, I think, for him to come up with that number and that figure, because if the residents say, okay, all we want is soccer in the field, as an example, they'll know what they're going to say, that reduces his time and what to do with it. I would like to see this done a little differently. I would like to see the public input first and then see what it's going to cost to develop the plans.
Well, just so we understand this clearly, this resolution says we are entering an agreement with this person to contractually begin the process of beginning the stages of the Burt Boston Park. Part of that is in phases, and I believe you have the phases here. The first one is the master plan and community engagement. You can't ask the person that you're trying to contract with, because you had a committee, if I'm not mistaken, that reviewed all the proposed RFQs. You decided this was the one you wanted to advise. There's nothing in the RFQ process that said, give me something as a conceptual, was there?
No.
So then, at that point, if you've decided through your scoring that this is the company we want to deal with, it's up to us to now say, okay, we'd like to enter into an agreement with this company to begin the beginning stages, which the beginning stages are the master plan and heavily community engagement. And then at that time, workshops will be created to give some sort of introduction to the Burt Boston Park. And then from that point, the community will come in and provide all their thoughts and ideas of what they'd like to see in the park, as well as what we like to see here on the dais ourselves in terms of what we'd like to promote or advocate for. So this is not a situation that's going to be fast-tracked. It's going to be slowly processed through the times. So I don't want there to be an understanding of, I know we have other issues going on, but Burt Boston is a part of the CRA, so it doesn't have any effect to the residents in terms of the general fund or anything like that. Am I correct to say that, Executive Director?
Yes.
Yes. So Kelsey Park, that's outside of the CRA, so anything that's happening there is part of the general fund. Is that safe to say?
Right, it's a separate funding
So
source.
that means all the stuff that we positioned for in terms of getting CDBG funds, grants to do this work and grants to do that work, that hasn't really affected the residents because that's zero cost to the residents. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, yes, it's utilizing TIF dollars that do come from the town and from the county to support the CRA district.
Okay, so then in that case, in this matter, this is strictly to say, yes, I'd like to begin process with this company contractually to move forward with the steps that needed to get this started. I really would like to see the community here involved because it is all about the community. I myself have had adults come to me say, there's no adults programs here. Yeah, we have a pickleball court, we have a tennis center, but nothing that says this is our exclusive thing. I've had children here. I've seen new children come here. So if you're telling me that we're going to have lots of families, youth, new people, and nothing to show for them, I don't know what to think from there because we're not really promoting ourselves as a community if we're not thinking that. We make decisions up here to think ahead, not to think current. Okay? For me, my decisions up here is about my future with my next of kin and my next generation. So we all have to have that same mindset when we come up here and have these discussions. And that's not to fault anyone in here. It's just, it's a trying time, so I understand the fear factor in all this. It's very much apparent. But in this case, this is just a beginning stage. And I, for one, would like to see something instead of nothing. And that's my thoughts. Any other comments? Yeah, we're still in discussion, right? Yes, we are.
I'm really disappointed in this, that we didn't approach this as a project to help the children in our town. This has been discussed for probably about 15 years now. And what we're going to do, we've lost the ability to be leaders in the commission here, because what we do is we don't get to say, hey, this would be a good idea. What do you think of this idea? That's not how it works. Why are we even up here? Why don't we just have a democracy where everybody out there votes on what it is? Why if this group out in the audience tonight feels, oh, I'd like to have a meditation center at Burt Bostrom Park, then that may be a fine reason, even though they've already asked for that in Kelsey Park. My point is that there's things that we look at all the time in depth. That's what our job is here. And you're going to get people to come in. I'd like them to put more oak trees in. And is there any nexus to really what we're trying to do to grow this community in a positive way? And I don't think there is. I would like this limited to a discussion about what we're going to do about building a recreational area for children. I'm sure that if we discussed it in that way, I think people would be receptive to that. I don't think the idea of let's just throw it out there for whatever we're going to do with it. I think, first of all, I think there's way too much money being spent on a plan that has no structure at all. And I agree with Commissioner Linden on that. So that's my view, and I will be voting in that way.
So,
Vice Chair.
I'm sorry. I do agree with you, Commissioner O'Rourke. It is our job to be leaders, but we building in any kind of park or sports, we have to input the residents. We have to give them somewhat input. As they design what they would like, it's up to us when it comes back to us to say, hey, this is what we're going to do as leaders. But we just cannot sit up here and just make the decision upon ourselves without getting a little bit of input from the community. I grew up here, as you may know. I played with the Lake Park Sharks before I wasn't a team there anymore. And it was always family and community around. So we got to give them to see what they want to make the residents feel involved. At the end of the day, it will be our decision. But how will we know in direction we want to lead this town or which way this town will go if we don't listen to the residents?
May I respond to what Vice Mayor said?
Sorry. Board Member O'Rourke.
Yes. Thank you. Don't misunderstand what I said. I'm not saying that there shouldn't be public input. What I'm saying is as leaders, as people who are elected to represent not just this room, but people that are out there, people I talk to all the time, young families that are really concerned about what am I going to do with my kids at certain times of the day. Mm-hmm. And to me, Burt Bostrom Park has always been that place that we would create for our youth to have a place to go to engage in activities that keep them on a path of positive growth. Yeah. And you all know what I'm talking about because you've been involved in these programs. So, and I'm not trying to beat this to death. I'm trying to say this is a little different than Kelsey Park. Really, it is.
And I have talked to a lot of the residents, and they're not against the development of the park. They're not at all. But and I agree with you. We both know sports, and I think sports help a lot of people out, including myself. But I just think input from people, and then we take the input, dissect the input, and make a decision on the input. I believe, yeah. I have young kids, very young kids myself. I want to not get up on Saturday mornings and go to a different municipality to do sports or go to the park or to go to the green market. I want to do it here in Lake Park. So yes, I think we understand that as a young family of growing, but I still think the input is needed. And when they have the workshop, and that's the way other residents feel, then they should attend and let their voice be heard.
Board Member,
That'll be my last.
Board Member O'Rourke.
There's a different way to approach it instead of throwing $117,000 at a plan that begins with no starting point. And that would be why don't we start with a survey first? Why don't we ask everybody here, ask everybody in the town? What's wrong with doing a survey before we start this process?
Okay, so then, before we go any further, let me put this out there for the board and see if they agree for it. The concern sounds like it's not the end goal. It sounds like it's the money. So would you be opposed to having us do a survey in the town to see what they would want first? And staff do that?
Not only am I not opposed to it, I think that should be the process.
And that also gives the public a chance to put their skin in this game here. And I don't mean game as a reference, not as anything else, just in case there's anybody thinking otherwise here. Board Member Thomas. I'm going to let her go
Yeah,
first.
go ahead.
Yes.
I wanted to say that there isn't anyone here that's disagreeing on what's happening. I believe it's a matter of how it's going to be conducted. To do a survey, to compile the data, and to analyze that information and to present it, I want to say to you, we have one planner, one part-time planner, and we have a director. That's on the city side. Mm-hmm. On the CRA side, which is where we are, we have Allison. I'm going to repeat that. We have Allison. Mm-hmm. So what you're asking Allison to do, Allison, because this is CRA, this is not city, this is CRA. Correct. So this is not city's duties, this is CRA. You're asking Allison to go ahead on and prepare the survey, send out the survey, do the analysis for the survey, bring it back to you, and then tell you that this is what it is. Allison is our CRA coordinator. She's a one-person operation. This is a CRA. This is not the city.
Absolutely.
So therefore, when we think about what you're saying, there has to be an entity that will do that. That's not the city. That's the CRA.
So
okay, and I will say this. In accordance to what this states, this firm was presented, and as far as I remember, whenever an RFQ, which is a request for qualifications, this body gets a copy of that RFQ before it goes out. Mm-hmm. You get an opportunity to review that RFQ so that you know why that RFQ is going out.
And ask questions.
It says to you in that RFQ before it's even presented at a meeting like this why it's being done. That was done on March the 6th, 2025, specifically for this. It then went on to say to us, the selected architectural firm will have 4 parts to this. Phase 1 would include a master planning and community engagement. The community engagement is a workshop where that information will be distributed. You would have an opportunity to provide feedback. You would have a survey that firm would do, and then they would provide that information back to the CRA board, which is where we're sitting as, not the city or the town. Phase 2 says, should we move forward, it would be a design of community and other park elements. We all know that that particular park element, and we're all saying the same thing here, we want to see something that's youth-oriented. I would imagine that would come out of the community engagement segment, which is phase 1. Phase 3 and phase 4 talks about the actual construction. She's not saying, at least I'm not understanding it as being, that they're going to spend $117,280. She's saying that based on if this is going to take this amount of time based on the hours that they charge, this is what that amount will be. I am thinking, and please correct me, this would be up to. So in essence, if they were going to go beyond that, you would have to come back here. In essence, it could be much less.
It's 107 is the base price.
Thank you.
So
So you're adding addition.
That there is about $10,000 and could be up to additional, but that includes all of the public engagement. As
And
well
I
as the
will
master.
say, public engagement, and I love our community because I see a room full of individuals, which says to me that we're going to have a lot of public engagement. That public engagement, I know, is not one meeting. And that meeting, even if it's one, it's going to be a couple of hours. That's going to take time for you to digest that information and bring it back out for us to have another public engagement. So that's not a one-shop stop. It's not that. Public engagement, in my opinion, is that we're going to have at least 2 or 3. We condense it, we present it back. That's where those dollars are going, because for every time that information goes out, it's digested, you present it. So I just don't understand, maybe the difficulty here when we're talking about one person trying to do all of that work that you're asking to do, because this is CRA, not city staff. And if it was city staff, you would have to have a person designated for that project. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, thank you very much. Board Member Linden.
Going back, in my opinion, we may use this company firm, but we need to give them information. We have enough money in the CRA to conduct our own survey, conduct our own workshop. I would like that to be first, and then be able to hand them results. This is what the community is looking for. This is what we'd like to see.
Would that be as part of their scope of services?
That is part of the scope of services.
Okay.
Can you clarify that? What do you mean that's part of the scope? Are you asking about a survey? Is
All
that part of
public
it?
engagement, they have in their scope that they will conduct up to 3 meetings, including offsite, so at Kelsey Park, where they have a booth where they will be asking the community, including surveys. One of the things we talked to them about is the importance of getting into the community, getting into the churches, finding the youth, finding the people that are going to be using the park. One thing we struggle with sometimes internally is we can put a survey out, we can put it out online, but getting that information requires them to show up at a public meeting, and not everybody does that. Not everybody shows up at public meetings, so we want to go where they are, and this is what we've instructed them to do. Go where the community is. You need to get us the information from the community. So that's above and beyond what we do on an everyday basis and get.
So what you're saying is they're not going to come here, create a meeting atmosphere workshop to expect everybody to come here. They're going to be proactive to go out to them.
Correct. And there may be one of those meetings, but that's not the entirety of the engagement they will do.
Okay. Any other comments? We have no other comments, so I will ask for a vote.
I would request a roll vote, please.
Sure. We will do a roll vote. Town Clerk, can you please go on with the roll vote? Yes.
Board Member Thomas,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hensley,
Yes.
Board Member Linden,
No.
Board Member O'Rourke, Mayor Mashad.
Yes.
Thank you.
No problem. Next, we have Resolution 540925, a renewal of property and casualty insurance with Florida Municipal Insurance Trust, FMIT, for FY 2026. And we will move it back.
Romy Mitchell is here.
I'm sorry? Okay.
Yep, good evening, Board Chair, Board members. Robbie Mitchell with Guerin Group Risk Strategies Company. I am here tonight to seek approval for the CRA's property, casualty, and workers' compensation insurance coverages. We are requesting approval for an annual premium covering all of those lines for $12,512, which is a slight reduction under your expiring coverage premium. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Okay, do we have any questions from the board members for Board Member Linden?
What did we pay last year?
Last year it was $12,795.
Thank you.
Board Member O'Rourke?
No, I'm ready to make a motion.
Okay. If nobody has any other questions, I will entertain a motion.
I move to approve Resolution 540925.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any other further discussion amongst the dais members? Seeing none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Resolution passes.
Thank you, Board.
CRA Administrator comments.
Yes. Thank you, Board Chair.
And actually, before you speak, I want to ask my board members if we may go out of turn for a minute, because the town clerk had provided me another public comment card, even though we went past public comment and we had closed out. But I want to allow this person to at least speak on it.
I move we extend public comment time.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So I do thank you, first off, to board members, and I would like to allow this person to speak. Mr. Teron Mercer, are you still here? And is this regarding CRA? Okay, the floor is yours. And again, thank you to my fellow board members.
Hey, thank you guys for allowing me to come up and speak. Okay, so I'm a product of Parks and Recreation. I grew up inner city. You guys knew my story from the last meeting that I have. My name is Teron Mercer. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. Sometimes you have to, I'm in awe that we are having conversations about how to fund public parks and recreation. I mean, you can look at your statistics of crime within the city, and to know that we are doing what we can here. I'm sorry. I've kind of got lost of thought here because I kind of got rattled a little bit because you guys weren't able to talk about what was meaningful with parks. And I'm sorry. I'm just having a hard time right now. How much time I have? Okay, get it together. Once again, I grew up with Parks and Recreation. I grew up with soccer, basketball, all of the above. I was told that if you build it, then they would come. And I want to make sure that you guys do believe that. And I want you to believe it within your heart. Once again, good things happen to good people because we care. Now, I know I might have rattled just a little bit, but deep in my heart, I know that you guys got what it takes to make great decisions amongst this city. You wanted to give money to other areas. We can barely get our pickleball courts service because of the lack of funding. I challenge you guys to put back within what is meaningful for the city, and that's the kids. Do not abandon your oath. I'm sorry. You guys have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so going back, CRA Administrator comments.
Yes, thank you. My only comment, and Commissioner Thomas, I appreciate your comment about me and the CRA. I actually, as of 2 weeks ago, we do now have a new CRA employee that I want to introduce to the board, Samantha Mins. She's our project and marketing coordinator. Samantha, if you want to stand up. Back
So
here.
you see, before she goes to clapping, we have two.
Now we have two. Well,
We now have two.
and I'll have, maybe in another meeting, I'll have her come up and introduce ourselves. I know you got a long meeting today, but I did want to make sure you all knew that she was here. She's going to be responsible mostly on marketing of the CRA. So the social media, getting to know all of the businesses. She's already started walking door to door. She's got her business cards. She's familiar, e-newsletters, all of the things that we want to do in the CRA to get people to come to downtown Lake Park and to know where downtown Lake Park is. As you may recall, we have a marketing company under contract that did the strategic marketing plan. She will be implementing that plan as well as helping their team with the branding. We held off with the branding of downtown till we hired this person so they can work in tandem to brand the downtown, to aesthetically know where people are going in downtown. We're starting that process now with the business community. So we're excited that Samantha's here, and I just wanted to say she's going to be a big help.
To say at least a word or two?
Yeah, sure.
Please come on up. Oh, you're not going to hide back there. We need you. Come on up. You can say the 2 words on the microphone. How's that? That's okay.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, thank you very much for having me. Hello, residents of Lake Park. Very happy to be here. Looking forward. I think Lake Park, as you all mentioned, has a special place for all of us. And I'm excited to see the city grow. It's going to be great.
Thank you, and we're very happy to have you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. That's all comments you have?
I apologize, I have one more comment.
Sure.
Because I would like to go ahead and address, I know on the city commission meeting, which you're moving to next, there is an item on the landscaping on Park Avenue. I do want to address it. It has been brought up. This is, our contract with our previous landscaping service ended in June. Public Works has been taking on the landscaping along Park Avenue and 10th Street. Unfortunately, they've been very overwhelmed. They've hired some additional help to help them get it cleaned up. It concerns me as much as it concerns the residents, and I know it concerns all of you. And, I'm working with Jamie and his team. We did get a couple of quotes for one-time sweeps. They range from $7,000 to $9,000 almost to come in and do a one-time cleanup. So what we're trying to do tonight is on your agenda, you will be approving the rankings of our landscape contractors. We will move immediately to get under contract with them to have a contract back to you. Our goal is to have them starting immediately. We have it in the budget for next fiscal year, so that's the goal for the landscaping contract.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Town Attorney, did you have something?
Oh.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Executive Director, you have any comments? Okay. Do we have any comments on the board with the board members? Vice Chair.
I just want to say for the records, I did request that I get an update on 903, 909. It's okay because I did get the email. Just for the records, I know that you did update me on it, and I just want the executive director to know that you did. So.
Okay. Would you like me to, I can provide the public update if you'd like.
Actually, go ahead.
I apologize. I did mean to address that in public as well. 903 Park Avenue, which is the Kelsey Market, currently has a grant from the CRA that's outstanding. They had some requirements to meet to begin construction. They're doing a new facade, new parking lot, some new landscaping. They do have a permit. The latest I've heard, and I played phone tag with him today, the latest I've heard, he's gotten some increase in costs that they're concerned about. They do have, though, outstanding code violations. So either way, they have to improve the code violations. We can't force them to do the grant portion of their project, but we're hoping that they move forward. I will continue to give you an update when I hear from them. Like I said, they have a permit and should be starting construction.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any comments other than? Okay, so, oh, my apologies, Board Member Thomas. Looked away, my apologies.
Allison, do we have a designated code enforcement person for the CRA?
We do.
Okay. This is just something that a resident, and I'm going to make this too in our next meeting, but there has been the concern about when residents within the CRA, and then I'm just speaking specifically here because we do have residential there, when they can actually put out bulk items. Because the concern has been, but it's citywide, but you know, I'm just making this comment now because we do have a CRA code enforcement officer, about maybe when we are putting out bulk, that it be done maybe the night before, so it's not just sitting on the curb for a whole entire, like, you know, week, because they put it out like on the weekend, and then it stays there until maybe like the Tuesday and the Wednesday, and so it just makes the place look rather deplorable, and it's just not residential. It could be even facilities such as family daycare centers, or, you know, et cetera. And it just, it's a concern that's there. So I'm just saying that. And the other thing, in regarding the landscaping along Park Avenue, when we hire mediocre firms, because the price sounds really good, we get mediocre landscaping, because it started with that. Okay, you don't get grade A quality, and then we get mediocre service because it was mediocre price. So if we want quality, we have to understand that we will pay for quality, i.e. the firm that I saw, we had them for a number of years in our town, and they have done grade A work. And after that, we got mediocre, and therefore, we got mediocre service, and that's what we're seeing. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
I don't have anything else.
Okay. Any agency member requests? Okay, I will entertain a motion of adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll just go ahead and keep it going to the regular commission meeting? Okay. All right. This is the Town of Lake Park, Florida regular commission meeting for Wednesday, September 3rd, 2025. The time is now 7:37 p.m. Can we please have the clerk take the roll call?
Commissioner Linden.
Present.
Excuse me, Commissioner O'Rourke.
Here.
Commissioner Thomas.
Present.
Vice Chair Henley.
Here.
Mayor Mashad, sorry.
Here. We will go ahead and skip the Pledge of Allegiance, since we did that earlier. Next, we have the approval of the agenda, and just to disclose early, item number 11 and item number 13 have been pulled off the agenda. That's the item 11 is the request to waive conflict of interest for the petition of demolishing 918 Park Avenue. And item number 13 is the request by Flores Development on the sales barge to relocate to a non-deed restricted area. Those items have been pulled off of tonight's meeting. Outside of that, if you have anything that you wish to be modified, please do so now, state it, or I will entertain a motion.
I would make a motion to keep those items on the agenda, at least for the public who has come here to respond to those items, to at least give them an opportunity to address us today on those items, and then explain why those items were taken off the agenda. I don't think half of the people in here know what happened, so.
Let me have the town manager go ahead and put a clarity to that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, with regard to the barge, we received a note from a representative of Forest that they intend to move the barge rather than proceed forward with a lease agreement.
Can you repeat that on the mic
Yes.
clearly so they can
We
hear,
received
please?
an email notice from a representative from Forest requesting that this item be pulled from the agenda because they'd rather, they're looking to move the barge rather than pursue a lease agreement with the commission and the town.
Okay, and then on the other item, in
The-
regards to item number 13,
That item, the potential vendor who is requesting the waiver was not able to be in attendance tonight, so they're asking for that item to be postponed to another item so that they could be here to
so
represent
that one's just
the
pulled for
issue.
this evening, but it will be brought up at a later
That's right,
date.
yes, sir.
Okay, Vice Mayor?
Mr. Mayor, is it possible that we could still hear the resident comments on the items?
I don't see, I don't see.
That was my motion. Didn't get a second on it, but
Okay, so if it's not on the agenda and people want to make public comment on items that are not on the agenda, they can do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
During the general public
So
comment.
during the general public
It'll be
comment,
considered general then.
we will hear from the public regardless of whether the agenda item is there or not.
Right. That's the purpose of public comment for items not on the agenda.
So,
Thank you, Tom.
if I may, though,
yeah,
before we go to public comments, I wanted the town manager to explain to everybody what happened and why these things are, why they're not on the agenda. I think with that explanation, it may have, maybe some of the people that have put in cards don't need to comment now, considering that, at least that reason why they're not on the agenda is now public knowledge. So.
okay. I do have public comment cards, and everybody will state whether they wish to continue their comment or not. But for now, we have to approve the agenda as is unless a modification is requested. Items number 11 and 13 have been pulled off the agenda, and an explanation has been given. I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to,
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. Any other further discussion? Okay,
okay. I'll make a motion to keep the agenda as it is with item 9 being pulled.
okay. Second? So you're modifying your motion,
Yeah. Modifying the motion.
the agenda as is, with the exception of item
Item
9
9.
being pulled from consent.
Correct. I modify my motion.
Point,
Yeah,
I'm
hold on,
sorry,
hold on.
point of order.
Hold
Are
on a
we-
second. Town clerk, what do you have to, do you have something?
I was trying to understand your motion. I think Commissioner O'Rourke is also trying to review what the motion was.
Okay, so there was a motion made to approve the agenda.
Approve
Okay,
the
so
entire,
Mayor, you
if I may.
move to approve the agenda.
The
After
entire
you get through
agenda.
the agenda,
Yes.
then you have the consent agenda.
Exactly.
If somebody wants to pull something from the consent agenda, that would be the appropriate time to do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
So then I'm gonna, later in the meeting, myself, have a discussion on this when we do commissioner comments about this approval of the agenda and the consent, because this is totally confusing.
It gets confusing.
And I need an explanation of it. So I'm just gonna put that now on the record, so that we discuss later.
But for now, my motion was to approve the entire agenda.
Okay. Do we have a second?
We already did first and second that already.
Yeah, I thought we did that.
Yeah, we actually did do that already.
We didn't have a vote on it.
Now we need to vote.
No, we didn't vote on it because we started getting a
Okay.
little confused here. Okay, we have a first and a second. Any other further discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, the approval agenda passes unanimously. Next, okay, we have a proclamation with United Way of Palm Beach County Hunger Action Month for September 2025. And can we have the representatives of United Way please come up? You guys can come up this way. Don't be shy. All right, this is a proclamation declaring September 2025 as National Hunger Action Month.
I don't think that's on. Hold on, because it doesn't sound.
Hello? 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 Oh, I don't control that. No, I know, I understand. I understand completely. Hello? Hello? Okay, that's better. All right, let us start again. This is a proclamation declaring September 2025 as National Hunger Action Month. Whereas United Way of Palm Beach County and the Palm Beach County Board of County Commissioners joined forces in 2015, launching a bold county-wide hunger relief plan that continues to address food insecurity and its lasting impact on individuals and families. And whereas the hunger relief plan is guided by 10 ambiguous goals and driven by the collective impact efforts of 183 partner organizations and a dedicated Hunger Relief Advisory Council, using the collective impact model to address hunger systematically across all communities and residents. And whereas overall food insecurity decreased from 14.2% in 2015 to 11.5% in 2024, and child hunger declined from 23.6% to 18.1%. And whereas United Way of Palm Beach County's Hunger Relief Advisory Council and Palm Beach County have worked in close partnership over the past decade to increase food security through vital programs such as the After School Meals Program, Summer Break Spot, and the Weekend Backpack Program, ensuring children have access to nutritious meals year-round. And whereas the number of after-school meals program sites increased from 15 in 2015 to 196 in 2024. Whereas infrastructure and innovation, including the United Way of Palm Beach County Food Finder Map, the Geographic Pantry Assessment, and a new commercial kitchen and food processing facility at the Palm Beach County Food Bank, have significantly expanded the county's hunger relief capacity and reduced food waste. And whereas outreach to rural communities, especially in the Glades, has expanded through initiatives such as the Tri-City Garden Project, healthy corner stores, and strategic advocacy efforts to ensure access to food and resources for all. And whereas while we celebrate 10 years of impact and collaboration, Palm Beach County residents continue to face food insecurity, underscoring the importance of sustained programs and initiatives through action, advocacy, and innovation. Now, therefore, let it be resolved that I, Roger Mashad, Mayor of the town of Lake Park, Florida, do hereby proclaim September 2025 as National Hunger Action Month, and proudly honors the 10th anniversary of Palm Beach County's Hunger Relief Plan, expressing our continued commitment to working together to ensure that each child, adult, and family in our community is food secure. Congratulations. Oh, absolutely. They would like us all to be a part of the picture, so please come down.
Oh, all right. Oh, I thought he said Michael.
No, no.
All of us.
Picture here.
before you go, would you like to say a few words?
I will take 30 seconds, but hunger relief is just one thing that our United Way of Palm Beach County offers to the community. We've been here 95 years, and if you don't know what United Way does, we're basically a convener for communities and nonprofits, but we also raise money. And we raise money to provide to about 95 nonprofit organizations in Palm Beach County. So we provide funding for programs that support youth. We have youth opportunities. One of them is around mentoring. We have nonprofits that are mentoring about 6,000 children throughout Palm Beach County. We also have programs that do financial stability. So they're helping people get better jobs and advance their careers. And community resiliency, we help in times of disaster and are just there to help every community in Palm Beach County. So we look forward to continuing our work with the town of Lake Park, and look forward to seeing you around at the League of Cities is where we talked about this, and working with residents. If you are interested in getting more information about United Way, you can go to our website, unitedwaypbc.org. I will also mention, since there's at least one jarhead in the room, anyone know what a jarhead is? All right, right over there.
Yeah, I got it.
Brian Edwards oversees our Mission United work, which is for veterans and their families getting better access to services, and we thank you very much for your service. And I think you have a commissioner here also who's a service member. I don't know if anyone else is, but we thank you very much. So I will end with that and leave you to your business, and just appreciate all of your service to the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have a discussion on accessory dwelling units, otherwise known as ADU, land development regulations for LERs, and Mr. Anders Vane is here to present. Mr. Vane, you may begin.
I haven't heard that in a while. They used to call me that in school.
And tell him by his government name. Go ahead, sir.
All right. Good evening, Commission. I'm Anders Vian, the town planner. Tonight, I have an update on our accessory dwelling unit ordinance. So we've been working through this for quite a while, and there are some interesting points that have come up that we'd like to discuss with you. So for our agenda tonight, we're going to go over briefly where we've been up to now, our draft ADU policy key features, and then the key policy challenges that we've identified, which are namely how to treat existing ADUs, occupancy standards, and then density allocation. And then finally, we'll turn it over for discussion and feedback. So to briefly run through where we've been, this initiative started all the way back in 2019 with an introductory meeting and discussion item on the ADU concept. That was followed up in 2020 in February and December with community workshops. Then in March 2021, we held another workshop, which included a survey and a follow-up study on parking issues, code enforcement issues, and incorporating survey feedback. When we resumed this initiative in 2024, we provided an update based on our findings from those follow-up and workshop survey items, and then we prepared an update presentation and received direction to develop the ordinance in March of 2024. Then from summer of 24 to summer of 25, there was active litigation and a potential Senate Bill 184 preemption. So after that has passed now, we've resumed work and have been working with legal on our draft ordinance. So to briefly run through the key policy features of the draft ordinance, these are accessory dwelling units would be accessory uses in the R1 and R1A districts, which are your single family districts. ADUs would be included in the density calculation. They may be up to 1,000 square feet, but not exceed the maximum built coverage in the single-family districts, like for all accessory structures. ADUs must honor existing setback standards and additionally be set back 10 feet from the primary structure per Florida Building Code. ADUs shall create a dedicated access sidewalk. They shall provide 2 new 8x20 parking spaces in addition to those for the primary dwelling or demonstrate such parking already exists. ADUs shall be 1 story or 20 feet tall maximum. ADUs shall provide stormwater retention. The owner must occupy the ADU or the primary dwelling, and ADUs are an administrative approval item. So the challenges that we've run into are basically as follows. How do we treat ADUs, existing ADUs, given that some properties have multiple, and we cannot identify permit records for many that were constructed in the past? And then what is the vesting process for these ADUs, or are they vested at all? Then occupancy standards. Can we impose an occupancy requirement, and what are the potential liabilities associated with this? Density, how should this be calculated, and how does this reflect on the spirit and intent of the ADU regulations? And then one additional thing we'll also have to navigate in conjunction with the town attorney is SB 180, and just making sure that we're strategized in a way where we can navigate SB 180. So I wanted to kind of take you through some of the research I've done on the existing ADUs in town. This is kind of an anonymous list here, but I've got several different categories of things we've collected in data, like whether these are outbuildings or attached, or if these properties have BTRs, or what kind of permits they pulled, and also how many units are on these ADU properties. So they generally range from 2 to 5. And as far as permit records go, I've looked back in our records to try to see if we could identify initial permitting for some of these. And unfortunately, it just doesn't appear to exist. However, there are some interesting permits that I'll note that have been approved throughout the years. So like, for example, on this first top one that I've highlighted, in 2005, a meter was added, and they called this a duplex meter. There are 3 units there. One is attached, and then one is detached. The next one down, they called this building a cottage, and it was re-roofed in 03. The property appraiser notes there are 2 units there, but then the one below it, this is kind of an interesting one. There is a survey from 1984 that identifies a garage and apartment, so this was either a former or de facto ADU, but then the property appraiser only acknowledges 1 unit. So it's kind of interesting, like it seems like there was one there at some point, but then maybe it was like renovated and not an ADU. And then finally, here's one where they're calling this a duplex, but this is, all of these properties are within your single family district. So unless there were zoning changes, these were never duplex lots, and they installed 2 meters here. So in summary, we've identified about 48 where we feel reasonably certain that these are probably ADUs, and another 5 that are unconfirmed, just because we don't know really what's going on inside the property. So the challenge is, how do we definitively identify ADUs? And this has proven difficult just because we can't find that original permit record. Now, we did manage to locate the ordinance that repealed ADUs initially, so this was passed all the way back in 1963. And so this may help us make some assumptions about certain buildings of a certain age. We could say, well, this was passed, or this was built before the ordinance prohibiting ADUs, so maybe this is legal, but it doesn't really necessarily compute. So it kind of complicates a specific and explicit vesting scheme. And then furthermore, we also have several properties that contain multiple ADUs, which raises the question of how these should be treated. And then furthermore, ADUs, if legalized, may require some upgrades to the current Florida building code in order to be habitable. So to go through the challenges here, one by one, I kind of lay these out. So we'll start with that, and then we'll get to solutions. So for occupancy standards were always envisioned to limit ADU occupancy by requiring the property owner either occupy the primary or secondary dwelling. And this was intended to kind of promote ADUs as a use for residents, not necessarily investment corporations. If you want to own sort of an investment property, we have our R2 district. You don't have to live on that site. But the idea with the ADUs is that this is sort of a gentler approach for these things that are going to be within our community. And although we've supported the occupancy restriction in the past, and there's been some local precedent, I think legal has valid concerns that this could bring some challenges. The other aspect that we need to look at is the density allocation. And you know what? I think I skipped existing, so I'm sorry. Let me go back here. Oh, wait, no. Okay. No, I'm right. Sorry about that. I'm losing track here. So density, this is the other aspect of the policy that we may want to reconsider, and specifically in connection to the occupancy. So depending on the final configuration of the occupancy standards, the density entitlement may, we may want to look at making ADUs something like an accessory quarters rather than a dwelling unit. And as I go through this, you'll see that there's kind of a connotation of accessory dwelling unit being a duplex property, which I don't think was the initial intent. So what we've striven to avoid is something where we would commodify the single-family housing stock. We want to create this in a way that puts families first and rewards those who want to live and own in the town. So ADUs have the potential to have the opposite effect as an affordable housing tool if we don't get this right, at which point these would not fit under our justifying framework of flexibility, sustainability, and affordability, which some of you may remember this slide. You've probably seen it a bunch and are sick of it, but I'll just briefly go through it again if you don't remember it. So this was kind of the core pitch on why ADUs were good for the town. And this was basically affordability for current owners, new buyers or renters. There's a lot of good research out there that shows that ADUs are typically rented to family or friends for below market rate, and they facilitate affordable living arrangements. Then they also provide flexibility for multi-generational households, parents and young adults, or older family members. And the town does have a disproportionate number of these kinds of families relative to the county. I think our average is like 3.25 or something, where the county's is lower than that. And then finally, it promotes sustainability because by bringing these buildings into legality, then they can be upgraded and meet current energy and building codes. And so this is just good for refreshing the community. All right, so we've talked about the problems. Now let's talk about what some possible solutions might be. So for existing ADUs, the problems kind of essentially break down as follows. How do we identify existing ADUs for vesting? How do we handle multiple ADUs? And how do we ensure they're safe for habitation? So one solution is we could use the built date before 1963 as a proxy for determining if these structures were permitted and vest those before that date, subject to necessary upgrades. But the problem with this is not necessarily accurate, and it doesn't necessarily reflect that they got permits, just that these buildings are old. The second solution would be some kind of amnesty or compliance program where we would ask property owners to come forward and identify their units for the purpose of specific vesting, subject to life safety inspections and needed upgrades. This is an interesting approach, but this might be a little invasive and maybe overcomplicating things. The other solution potentially is there's no specific ADU vesting, but rather going forward, all property owners are now allowed to build or renovate one ADU to meet code insofar as it's possible, and then multiple ADUs would remain non-conforming above the entitlement of one as they are now. As part of this exercise, I looked at some precedents from other Palm Beach County municipalities. So I found 4 that were pretty comparable. We have West Palm Beach. So West Palm Beach was actually able to do specific vesting because they have what they call green cards, which are these permit records that date back forever. So they were able to identify specific permit records for ADUs and identify that these were permitted and therefore vest them. Palm Beach County also has ADUs, but they defer to their standard existing nonconforming provisions. In Delray Beach, likewise, they have legal nonconforming, i.e. permitted, guest cottages, they call them, and these can remain and make improvements until torn down, at which point they'd have to meet the proposed new regulations. Uses without permits would be dealt with on a case-by-case basis, and they have no specific compliance plan at this time, although they are still working on their ordinance. And then Lake Worth Beach had no blanket amnesty or special provisions, but rather they also defer to their general existing nonconforming sections of their code. As it pertains to the occupancy standards, this may be broader than an owner requirement or not. It could be, rather than attempting to limit occupancy, instead eliminating the density allocation could be enough to achieve the desired effect of deterring speculation, or other novel policy mechanisms may need to be envisioned to achieve this effect. Now, to look at the precedents in this case, Palm Beach County does have a current occupancy requirement for the owner, and theirs is actually even more restrictive than we were proposing, where they would require that the owner reside in the principal dwelling. West Palm Beach has no owner occupancy standard and allows both units to be rented, while Delray Beach allows guest cottages to be used by family, live-in service providers, or non-paying guests. They're also looking at further restricting occupancy in their upcoming ordinance. And then for Lake Worth Beach, they have no occupancy restriction and allow these uses in multifamily districts, which is interesting, and I'll get into that when we cover the density a little bit, but they treat it very differently than we would. And then for density, so density entitlement or lack thereof is an important aspect of this policy. So anecdotally, staff is aware that some people make decisions about purchasing property purely based on the number of units. And our concern is that adding the additional half unit of density to the single-family districts may conflict with their function as single-family districts. Conversely, omitting the half unit entitlement would help reinforce these areas as single-family homes with accessory living quarters and not duplexes, which is the framework that Palm Beach County uses, and they even go so far as to require only one utility meter on the property. So in summary, it seems like, in general, the precedent is as follows. The existing nonconforming situation has been handled by vesting through building permit records, but we can't do that. So in our case, it may simply be best to refer to our existing nonconforming regulations and allow ADUs to come into compliance with the new code over time. Interestingly, I actually had a permit review recently of a similar situation where someone had done an illegal conversion and then they came in after the fact to get a building permit as they were trying to sell the home. And as part of that, we basically required that they have circulation between this ADU and the home and bring it into compliance. However, if an ordinance was passed that allowed ADUs, then they would have been able to just permit it through that process and it would have been valid at that point. Occupancy, so there is some variety in the local treatment of the occupancy standard, and it seems to break down as follows. So where the density is allocated, ADUs are treated almost like duplex commercial properties and have no rental restrictions. Where density is not allocated, they're treated more like accessory uses for homeowners. So finally, that brings us to the density. So it seems where the intent is to retain the single-family character of the district, the density is not calculated, and the ADUs are treated as accessory uses like in Palm Beach County and Delray Beach. But if there's not an occupancy restriction, I would probably advise against adding the half-unit entitlement to the single-family districts, future land use, and I would also probably recommend we change the name to something like accessory dwelling quarters to clearly define these uses as subordinate and distinct from residential units. So thanks for your continued attention and patience as we work through this policy. I know some solutions may seem simpler, but we're very close to the finish line, and I think we've really come up with something great that's reflected a lot of work and workshop with the community, and we just want to make sure we get it right. Time is of the essence, however. There have been some recent attempts to override local planning with regard to ADUs, and specifically these were very regrettable Senate Bill 184, which was attempting to make it so we couldn't restrict not only occupancy, but also even enforce a parking standard, even if some of these renovations potentially eliminated parking or garages, no new parking could be built. So I do think it's important that we plant a flag for good planning. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to your feedback. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Anders, for that presentation. I will open the floor to the dais for any questions, as well as comments and direction. Commissioner Linden.
Thank you, Anders, for the presentation. Very nice, as always. The same issues keep coming back up, and I don't see a resolution to them. One is the parking issue. And the big problem with that, some of the houses that have large backyards that could accommodate this, there's no way that they can put 2 additional parking spaces in front of the house without destroying the look and the architecture of the front of the house. The second thing is, and the big thing, is homesteading. All right? The owner is required to live, or was required to live on the property, and their main residence, they can homestead. But if you build a new unit in the back, pick a number, it doesn't matter, $300,000 to build one of these, $200,000, they're now going to have to pay full tax on that. And the third point, which sticks out to me, is in the meetings we had, and I would be hard pressed to say that I probably was in all of them. I may have missed one. But the big concern was now we're building from the inside out, causing more congestion in more buildings in the town. So, and what I saw up there, I didn't see how to address that. And I didn't bring my notes, but go ahead.
Sorry, just to clarify, so the parking at this point we're unpreempted. Fortunately, Senate Bill 184 did not pass, so that preemption on our parking requirement has not been vetoed. So that's kind of why I'm bringing this back, partly to say I think that if we can, we should create an ordinance like that to ensure that we don't lose that ability if we want to go forward with this initiative. And then on the homesteading, I think actually, from my recollection, is that the homesteading can be specific to the dwelling. One thing that the new legislation did do, which I think is good, is that it clarified that. So likely, if there is additional state Senate bills on this, they'll probably continue to include that where they make it explicit that the homestead exemption can be specific to one dwelling, but not the other necessarily. And then on the congestion, I hear you. I mean, I think that we've tried to create this, again, in a way that's very gentle and respectful of the community. So, we've tried to mitigate it through parking requirements and ensuring that all of these are done in a way where it makes sense, basically. But
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Actually, Commissioner Linden, I have a question for you.
Okay.
You stated that if the homeowner, which is a requirement to live in the property with an ADU, if they rent the ADU, that they're subjected to pay the entire tax. Is that what you were stating?
One more time. I don't think, but go ahead.
If they rented the ADU,
Right.
I believe your statement was that they would pay the entire tax. Is that your statement?
Somebody would have to pay the new tax on the new building, the property tax.
Could you elaborate on that?
If somebody today built a 2,000 square foot home anywhere in Lake Park, they'd have to pay property tax.
On just that portion.
Right. So if you built the ADU on an existing piece of property, the primary residence, which is already homestead, that new construction would then be subject to the same tax as if it was a freestanding building on a separate lot.
Correct. That would probably most likely be new value, and more likely the homestead would be prorated based on that.
Well, how could the homestead be prorated? Because you'd have two locations.
Well, there'd be a portion that's resided by the actual owner of the home, and then a portion that they are renting out, which that would be the discretion of the property appraiser, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
That would make that determination. Correct?
Yeah, that's my understanding of it.
At any rate, it's not within the commission's jurisdiction to decide homestead issues.
Correct.
And payment of taxes.
No, I just wanted to make that clarification so that there is
Let's
no...
try to focus on what you've been presented, and I mean...
Understood, but
Excuse me, I need to clarify that then, because it may not be our jurisdiction to decide homestead, but it's certainly our jurisdiction to, and our responsibility to figure out if people are going to build an ADU, whether they're going to lose a tax advantage of that. And that's really what the question is.
Certainly,
what my
yeah,
statement
but it's
is.
not whether or not there's a homestead exemption on it.
Well, in the case of, okay, let me rephrase it. If an example is with the homestead exemption, I'll say it that way. Okay? Okay, but I just need it for clarification because I don't want there to be many misconstrued notions that taxes will change significantly. I'd rather them go and get that information themselves at the property appraiser's office.
Yes, and while I have researched that in the past, I certainly would defer to the appraiser's office. That's not my field of expertise.
Correct.
But I did look into it as in connection to this, and that's my recollection is that you can exempt one portion if not the other.
Absolutely. Okay. Any other questions or Commissioner O'Rourke?
Thank you. I'm going to fire a bunch at you. Anders, thank you. I know you very well. I've known you a while. This is one of your projects that you'd like to work on. We've discussed this many times, haven't we?
Yes.
Okay. So why would you consider that an ADU be 10 feet from the primary structure and not be allowed to have a structure that's attached or a in-law unit?
Well, actually, that one comes from the Florida Building Code. So I think you actually would be able to build an attached ADU, but that's just specific to the detached. So if it's a new detached, then it would observe the 10 feet unless it's attached.
So then you're just saying that that's a separate designation. Let's call it unattached.
Yes. Yeah.
Kind of like me right now, right? Just a joke.
Attached
sorry.
or yes, attached.
The other thing is, you were talking about the parking standards. Going around town, you might wonder whether there is a parking standard in this town. Is there?
There is. So for every single-family dwelling unit, they're required 2 8x20 parking spaces. So typically, if a project comes in and they're doing a driveway expansion, I'll always make sure they have that minimum number. However, what we would create new with the ADU ordinance would be requiring another 2 8x20 spaces to accommodate the new unit, therefore mitigating that parking issue. But
And also with the parking thing, there's a requirement that the vehicles that are parked there have to be registered, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. So if you're storing vehicles at your property, is that allowed?
Well,
that are not registered?
Code enforcement is not my purview, but I believe we do require that the vehicles have a valid tag. And I'm not.
I actually was just talking to code this morning, and that's
okay.
That's why I asked you that. I thought you knew, but they said that stored units are not allowed on properties in the residential area. That was my understanding.
Yes, I think that is correct. I'm again gonna. Yeah, my director's nodding, so
okay.
That's yes.
I'm going to move on. Why wouldn't you approach, when you're looking at the ADUs, why wouldn't you approach a process that first finds out where they exist currently?
So I've done quite a bit of work on this, and this has proved pretty challenging. Most recently, I got some pretty good data from the property appraiser that I was able to port into GIS and map all the locations. So I found about another 10 or so that I previously hadn't identified, but in the past I've tried to identify them using aerial photography. Property appraiser also identifies like number of units. So like, excuse me, when there are like 2 units in our single family district, like that clues me in like, okay, something is different with this one, and they get a further examination. So I would say I've probably, excuse me, I've probably located all of the de facto existing ADUs, at least all the ones that are identified by property appraiser number of units. Now, if property appraiser did not confer a number of unit entitlement, that's where I'm not totally sure. Like there are some that I'm uncertain about. It'll say 1 unit, but there'll be things in the permit records where I'll say, well, it looks like maybe at one point it was 1, but they don't acknowledge it anymore. So I'm assuming then that means it's been demolished or something. I just don't know.
And if I can, there are some residential buildings, residential houses that have more than 1 RDUs. Those are not considered in this category, are they? Because they're considered multi-dwelling. Is that it?
Well, no, it would really just be more that when we would develop the new ADU ordinance, it would just be for 1. So I would certainly say that they would be entitled to at least 1, but anything above 1, I don't see how we could provide it to them without being unfair to the other properties.
I'm talking about existing, and I'll give you an example on Greenbrier and 4th. There's a house that was for sale for a while. It's Betsy's house, and she has two units on the side there, and she rents them out. And that property was for sale for $800,000, which is really nice price. And I think the price is there because she has those income units. There's also, on Foresteria, there are 2 very large houses that have multiple units, one having 6 units, the other having 5. And are those considered in the ADU compilation?
Well, again, I think at least one would be, but I don't think we were looking to vest all the other dwelling units above 1. Now, something did just occur to me. We could do some kind of clustering analysis to see if maybe it would make sense to create a new, excuse me, I don't know why my throat is so parched here, but we could look at potentially creating some kind of new district within this area if it makes sense, like if there's a cluster of them and it seems like maybe historically there's been some kind of multifamily district in there, perhaps that could be an option. But that would be a little bit different than what we're looking at with ADUs. But it's certainly something we could consider. I have that data now, so we could do that kind of analysis if you're interested.
And I'm going to try to save your voice and not ask any more questions, okay? Thank you.
Okay, and I think, again, just for understanding, I think what they're looking for is direction on the following: the treatment of existing ADUs. Should the existing ADUs be vested and how so? Imposition of occupancy standards and density allocation. So those are where they lie. So Commissioner Thomas.
I honestly think that this probably should have been held to like another meeting. I love the presentation, right? But I think that discussion is like necessary, but I don't want to have this discussion now because I was under the impression that it was just going to be a presentation, and I do have a number of questions. So having said that, I would defer that and just ask that I appreciate the presentation, but then defer that this probably be done to another meeting. That's what I would ask.
Okay, so with that, Vice Mayor.
I'm just going to say I agree with Commissioner Thomas.
And I too agree with Commissioner Thomas.
And so do I.
Would the commission be okay if we table this for a future meeting?
I move that we table it for another meeting.
Absolutely, we can do that. I did want to mention too that during the last legislative session, and Anders, and our staff works so hard on these things, and this happens all the time. It happened in one of my last cities. In fact, the former vice mayor and I worked on a project with telecommunications. We moved forward, we did some, and we were preempted. And during this last session, there was a Live Local push for ADUs that would have preempted anything that we are talking about. So it may be healthy to kind of see what's happening with the legislative session coming up. I can tell you it's not going to be anything like what we're talking about.
Yeah.
There was no parking at all, no required parking. People park wherever they want. Live Local is just a different animal, and that was what was being presented this past year. Fortunately, it failed, but it may be coming back. So it may be healthy to postpone and see where we are with that. And
more the
Anders,
reason why.
great job with all your hard work.
Yeah, thank you for that presentation.
Great one.
Okay.
Thank you, Anders.
Thank you, Anders. Next, we have public comment. I have public comment cards. I'm going to start with Katya Zastowska.
Hello, Katya Zhestkova, 1018 7th Street. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, Richard. I want to start with thanking Richard, our town manager, for his service and for the work he does day in, day out for this town. And we all know it's not easy because we have tons of issues. So I just wanted to let you know that we appreciate you and you're doing a wonderful job so far. And we really hope that you will continue working for this town and perform as you've been doing. So thank you so much. And saying that, I hope and I believe Richard can be the person who brings accountability back to town operations. Correct me if I'm wrong, but for too long, Lake Park has functioned like what many describe as big happy family. And that may sound very nice. And then there is a real value in employees feeling close and supportive of each other. But as we all know, families also have tendencies to forgive poor performance, overlook missed responsibilities, and avoid tough conversations. So I'm glad that Richard is a new person, and I'm hoping that he will. We do love that you guys have a wonderful family here, but at the same time, this is not social club with great benefits. So we do expect great performance, and Richard is the man to do that. And now here is accountability more urgent than with the Marina project. Marina project is extremely important. And I was really happy to hear Mr. O'Rourke speaking about kids and the kids' future here. I agree very rarely with Mr. O'Rourke, but that was the occasion. So with Marina, I hope Mr. O'Rourke will agree with me now that this is our kids' future, 99 years. So unfortunately, in 99 years, everybody here, the majority of us, I saw 2 kids coming today, so the majority of us will be dead. The forest development in 99 years will not probably exist. But for some reason, we are signing the contract. We did sign the contract for 99 years, which is absolutely ridiculous. So think about the future of our kids who will enjoy the marina after us. Please, I hope you understand that, my stand on that. Please part with forest development and let's manage the marina ourselves or find a very responsible developer. Thank you so much for your service.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Michael Steinhauer. And Mrs. Steinhauer, just for the record, I distributed your testimony to everybody on the dais.
Yes, that written testimony is much longer than my 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Michael Steinhauer, 435 Greenbrier Drive. I have previously appeared before you on several community issues, one of which focused on the mayor, the commissioners, and the town manager's gun violence safety, and the other about the personal and professional value systems necessary for you to make difficult decisions. As a private resident and as a leader of a local resident engagement nonprofit, I have strived to be of good faith, thoughtful, and even empathetic, serving as your community partner. Tonight I will speak because I think we are soon at a crossroads decision about P3 and forest development, which in my view also encompasses consideration of the PADD project and the Nautilus status. I seek a brave, values-driven mayor or commissioner to consider a motion I will suggest. Regrettably, I do not have the allotted time necessary to cite all of my 22 whereas preambles that are on your written testimony. I expect that they are essentially correct. They support my motion and are for you to digest. At the end of the day, how many reasons do we really need to have all the stakeholders in this town endure the pain of continuing to work with forest? I encourage a motion, quote, that Lake Park elected representatives and the town manager immediately cease all further negotiating, planning, and approval efforts with forest development projects of any sort or similar language. Mr. Mayor, commissioners, this necessary motion may result in legal action. Do not fear short-term challenges in this regard, as compared to the long-term loss of control of the P3 space and the sacrifice of intelligent agreements that benefit the town and our value system. Leadership is not about power. It's about purpose. You were chosen to serve, not to sit. So lead boldly. Your decision today will shape generations tomorrow. And your title gives you authority, but your actions earn your respect. Act undaunted and inspire trust. Rise to the moment. Residents are counting on you. Be the voice of courage in an environment of compromise. Development in Lake Park is indeed needed. Invite a firm with a background of proven competency, creative, innovative, and resident-focused. No high-rises. And thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. If we could hold all claps, please. Thank you very much. We would like to get through this. Don Palumbo.
Don Palumbo, 301 Lakeshore Drive. I'm a little thrown off with the cancellation of talking about the barge being moved. I don't understand why it was canceled, because whoever drew the plans up wasn't able to.
Well, we're not, this is just your 3 minutes to comment on anything you'd like.
Okay. You know, the proposal from 220, eliminating 55 slips in the rear lagoon. It's not 55 people, it's 55 families, affordable boating, husband, wife, children, maybe grandchildren. Going to be replaced with 6 slips in the back, in that rear canal, for 60 to 70-foot boats. That's not the norm here. The income from, there's going to be 23 60 to 70-foot boats in the marina. That's what they're proposing. That's going to bring in like $150,000, $160,000 a month, which comes to almost $2 million. And I'm figuring low on the pricing of the slips. You go to Cannon Sport, Buccaneer, $9,000, $10,000 a month for those. That's large boats. But you're a municipal marina. You're getting funds from the state for affordable boating. It's not going to be affordable boating. It's going to be boats for the Nautilus 220. I think you got to think about what you're doing. But I wanted to talk about the barge. I mean, there's not going to be, I mean, the drawing that was presented is showing 30 foot on the west side. It's not 30 foot. Every one of those boats stick out of another 4 or 5 foot because of the motors are up in the air when they're not using it. And on the other side, you have sailboats with dinghies hanging off the back. I mean, with that barge in the middle of that canal, how are the boats going to get back and forth? You're going to have accidents there. So that's basically what I wanted to say. I mean, the other thing, it's not just about the slips. It's about the people in town. I mean, I live next door, and I see in the morning local people come with their cars, drinking their coffee. They watch the sun come up. Lunchtime, they come down, have their lunch at the tables in the marina.
Thank you, Mr. Palumbo.
Right.
Thank you. Joanne Robin.
I think that you know the residents of Lake Park's thoughts. And I'd like to understand your thoughts about your decision to hire or lease to Forest Development. So I have 5 questions, and I'm wondering if you can answer them tonight in front of us so that we understand what your thoughts are. If that's okay. Can I ask the questions?
This is not a session for questions and answers. This is just simply your 3 minutes to speak on whatever topic.
Okay. So these are the questions, just so you know, that we're just kind of wondering. Which other developers did the commission consider for the marina project? Why did the commission choose an inexperienced developer such as Forest Development over an experienced one? What are the terms of the agreement or contract that the commission signed with Forest Development? Is it binding? How much per year is Forest Development paying the town to lease the marina? And for how long are they paying? How many of those 99 years? And why did the commission decide on a 99-year lease term? So those are the questions. And I'd love to know the answers, and probably more people would too. I think that's all.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Taram Mercer.
Thank you for allowing me to be here once again. I'm going to do better this time. Okay, so I'm still I'm a resident, a future resident of Nautilus 220. I moved from Nashville, Tennessee. Now, but I get to wake up every morning and get to see the beautiful Lake Park. I am very honored and gracious. I'm happy to be a part of the Lake Park community. I feel safe. My family feels safe. Thank you, Captain Steve. Thank you, Lake Park Marina. I'm going to say some good things because we overlook the good things that are happening amongst our community. We brought in extra sheriff patrol over the holiday. I noticed that we didn't have as much violence or any fights outside or any arguments. My wife still gets up in the middle of the night, and she feels safe. I feel safe for her to be there. I get to go to Kelsey Park on a regular basis. I play pickleball every morning at Kelsey Park. I still have the warm, fuzzy feeling when I see the kids amongst the community play on a regular basis. So don't get me wrong. I think that the Nautilus 220 is going to be a great asset for the community as well, although I don't trust them. Okay? I'm going to ask that you guys don't sell your soul. Now, they still have me in a homeless condition, although I do have a boat, and I'm able to do that now. However, I'm asking that you guys know where you go before you go. You think about what you do before you do it. So when these decisions are brought before you, I want you to think long and hard about what the citizens are asking and how they're asking you. And we depend upon you. Now that I see you, I depend upon you. And I really like what I see. So I want to thank you guys for having me to come back and redeem myself. I allow myself to be able to speak before you. But I really think that you guys do what you can. My dad just says, hey, I did the best that I could. So given what you have, continue to do the best that you can. Good things happen to good people because we care. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris Steele.
Thank you, Commissioners. Chris Steele, 301 Lakeshore. I got to say I enjoyed your discussion about the CRA, the passion that went into it. Commissioner O'Rourke, you said you were outraged, disappointed. My question is, where's your outrage for this horrible P3 agreement, 99-year agreement that pays the town pennies with a developer that has no experience? Every one of you talked about we need community involvement. What else do you need? Why do you think these folks are taking their time away to be here tonight? Because they're frustrated with what's happening in the marina. They're frustrated with this developer. One of you has already made it clear where your loyalty lies, so I'll speak to the other 4 of you. What's your plan? How many red flags do you need? I sent you all an email. I got one response from Commissioner Linden that wasn't really a response. It's real simple. What's your position? You hear what everybody's saying. If you want community involvement, you're getting it. What is your plan? How many red flags do you need to see? You've heard the saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you know the rest. My neighbor, Jim Maynard's going to speak. He was getting ready to leave because he looks at this eyesore, not the building, but the barge, right out his back window. And he wanted to go home. It's late, it's hot. And he said to me, you know, what's going to happen? Are they going to move it? I said, Jim, all I can tell you is they're promising they're going to move it. Guess what? Their promises haven't meant a whole lot. So how much longer are you going to entertain them? I'd love a response to my email. I'd love to know, just like Joanne talked about, everybody else wants to know, what's your position? I think you know everybody lies. If you want community involvement, you got it right here.
Thank you, Mr. Steele. Again, please, we have a civility in the quorum. We please not clap. Thank you very much. Susan LaFontaine. And I have 2 public comment cards, so
Are you 3 minutes for both?
I really can't because that wouldn't be fair.
I'll email you about FPL.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And actually, you provided us documentation as well, which I'll pass to the members of the dais.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Susan LaFontaine. I've lived on Evergreen Drive for 25 years. At the August 6th Commission meeting, Forest Development's Peter Batarian stated, and I quote, "We have never dumped waste that's not DEP sort of approved into the marina. The water is checked on twice a day. We have no violations on that." I guess none of his staff told him that the Florida DEP sent Nautilus 220 a letter of construction stormwater violation related to the Clean Water Act dated March 21, 2025. Or that Nautilus 220 has received 7 single event violations of the Clean Water Act from the DEP during its 2 inspections, 3 violations in June 2022 and 4 in February 2025. And 2 of those in 2025 are repeat violations. Those were failure to develop any or adequate stormwater pollution protection plan and failure to operate or maintain best management practices. It's also alarming that the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System permit was issued to Nautilus 220 by the DEP in 2022, even without those required documents. I guess it makes no difference to the DEP that missing or inadequate permitting documents were repeat violations in 2025, along with 2 new violations. 1, failure to inspect, and 2, failure to maintain records. Don't those repeat and new violations warrant further DEP follow-up? Has anyone from the town checked with the DEP and or Seacoast for violations? If not, why not? Especially after residents of Lakeshore Drive shared their experiences with the Commission on August 6th of stinking water and massive loss of sea life in marina waters since Nautilus 220 construction began over 3 years ago. A man I spoke to on the fishing pier last week lamented how he used to net catch large schools of mullet for free bait, but all of those fish are gone now. If Forest Development Nautilus 220 still didn't have an adequate pollution protection plan in place in February of this year, which was 2.5 years after first being cited for those deficiencies, what do you think will happen to marina water and the local Lake Worth Lagoon when they build all 4 components of P3? Thank you.
Thank you. Pablo, Mr. Palumbo, please sit down. Thank you. Pablo Perhax. If we continue this, I will ask the captain to ask you to leave. Please stay quiet, and please allow the others to speak.
And my name is Pablo Perhax. I'm an owner, a taxpayer, a resident, and a voter. I agree with Mr. Palumbo. The only reported violations to Nautilus come from the residents. When is a commissioner going to go down there and look at the mud that has been pumped continuously into the Lake Park Lagoon? Go look at pictures of what the lagoon looked like 10 years ago. Go down there today and look at it. If I were a boat owner, I wouldn't drive my boat in that water. No. We talk about enforcement. What about the planning department? Go read what they're supposed to be doing. Are they going down there and looking at the marina and saying, oh, there's pollution? No, they're not. You're leaving it up to the residents to do that. That's not proper. The barge. I heard today right here that Nautilus doesn't want to come here, Forest doesn't want to come here and present the fact that they can't face you because they are in violation of the deed restrictions for a public marina which is on land owned by the state, not by the town of Lake Park. I understand that they don't want to come here because they're going to move it. When are they going to move it? Where are they going to move it? How are you as a commission going to enforce that? You signed an agreement with the Nautilus 220 that had specific timelines in which they shall complete that project for occupancy. That time giving them the best benefit of the doubt from 2019 when the agreement was signed, expired 15 months ago. What's the town doing about it? These are not the people who should be at the P3 or at 10th and Park. And I believe in participatory democracy. So the rules of decorum may say nobody should clap. But I think participatory democracy needs to be done. I've heard it expressed, Commissioner Hensley. I think that's what we're a small town. We can do that. And I want to stand up and say something else completely. There was a malicious attack on the integrity of the town manager. That was absolutely improper. I can't speak to that person's motives. What I can speak to, though, is since Mr. Reed has been here, he came into an intolerable situation. He has done an admirable job. I've met with him for many hours. The town staff is now finally being held accountable and doing their jobs. I congratulate you, Mr. Reed. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Perhaps. Captain. Never mind. Nicholas Mastroianni. I hope I said your name right, and I apologize if I didn't. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, Council, Mr. Mayor, Nicholas Mastriani. That was pretty close, so thank you very much. 1903 River Drive, long time, local resident, 25 years. Actually lived on Lakeshore Drive for 3 or 4 years myself. I don't live in the town today, but I am a business owner in the town. I think I picked a bad night to come. I didn't know there was so much going on. But we are a small, locally owned boat club in the marina. We have 10 slips in the marina. We've been there quite a while. We serve residents of the community. We have about 160 members, many of whom literally live and reside in the town of Lake Park. I'd venture to say we probably have more members than there are actual tenants of the marina who live in Lake Park. So we do service everyone here. To all the talks, I love the talks about the community and families and children and the youth. That's what makes up our customer base. So we are publicly accessible to all. We're not the larger corporate club that's there that has the big country club like initiation fees, and we're kind of a more accessible local operation. I'm here only because our lease expires at September 30th, and we don't have a plan for the future for our small business that's operated there. And like I said, we have about 150 members from the surrounding community, another 500 members in the larger kind of West Palm Beach to Lake Park, North Palm area that all actually utilize these facilities for boating access and affordable boating access, that is. So to the point of just a little touch on the children piece, like we host community days and programs where youth come out on boat with our staff, youth that don't have the means to otherwise be on a boat or go fishing and never would have had the opportunity to. So I understand there's challenges around the reverter areas, non-reverter areas in the marina. There is a large enough area that can host us. We take up some of those slips now, and then we're in a few other slips where I understand the commercial use cannot be. So I guess my simple ask was to understand the intention of the council. We've been great partners, I think, as far as good tenancy and serving the community. Not in 70-foot boats that people can't afford, but in 25-foot fishing boats and pontoon boats that they're able to go out and utilize. So we're just looking for certainty, right? We're a small business. We have local employees and local customers, and we don't know what to tell them about what happens on October 1st. So we're just hoping to have a small little corner carved out in that reverter area for our business to continue to operate and continue to serve the residents of Lake Park. So that's about all I have for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Kelly Steele.
Good evening. Thank you so much for your service to the town. And I have a few things to touch on quickly. One of them also is about Richard Reed, our town manager. There was something posted this week online from Lake Park News that was accusing him of lying about the budget. And I just want to say many of us in town have been very concerned about that accusation. And I want everyone to know that Richard Reed, outside this commission chamber, outside this town hall, is known as a man of honesty, a man of integrity, and a godly man. And we have even more experience of him just because our son Keegan was his kid's youth pastor. So we know his character. And so I want to thank you, Richard, for all you're doing for the town, and for those of us who don't realize all he's doing and making a difference. And when he came here, this was a mess. And I also had the privilege of meeting with him two-on-one and talking with him and talking about the concerns of the town. And he's got a big challenge. So I think we all need to be his cheerleaders, because we all need a cheerleader. So thank you so much. And I'm really sorry for what was said online. And it caused me to research how the town budget is created. And I know that's a big job of the town manager and the staff. And I realized that they create the goal of the budget and the merit raises and the cost of living increases that are potentially there. But you guys are the ones that decide to approve it or not. It's not the town manager's responsibility. So there are some crazy salaries out there that we've been dealing with over the past few years. And when I look and see on the proposed budget that the librarian with pay and benefits would be making approximately $174,000, and that a receptionist and cashier gets paid approximately $1,000, that's cray-cray to me. And I would think that this is an opportunity, as this budget's coming up, that many of the residents are concerned about where our dollars are going, because these are the taxpayers paying them, is that we would consider, do we do a moratorium on these crazy salaries? I would say the groundskeepers getting paid $30-some thousand when they're out there at 95 degrees, and I see them at Kelsey Park working so hard, and I need a lot more to say. Anyways, I wanted to talk about the civil lawsuit that we were served that has to do with Nautilus for our condo 301 Lakeshore Drive, and they have not been good neighbors, and honestly, why would we partner with them when they have never done a condo, they've never done a marina, they've never done a hotel.
Thank you very much, Ms.
And
Steele.
there are better partners out there. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all the public comment cards I have for today. Next, we have the consent agenda. Commissioner Thomas, I believe you wanted to pull item number 9 out of consent. So item number 9 will be pulled. Is there any other items? If not, I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda without item 9.
Do we have a second?
I'll be glad to second that.
We have a first and a second. Oh, actually, let's hold off for a minute while everybody walks out. We have a first and a second. Any other further discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the consent passes. Next, I'm going to go right to the item that was pulled. Item number 9, pilot sanitation pickup schedule proposed to permanently be effective Monday, September 22nd, 2025. Commissioner Thomas, you had this item pulled. I will let you begin.
Good evening.
Good
I'm
evening,
Mr.
Commissioners.
Morales. Really, my concern here is last time when we had initially started the rollout, and I think we've really been going in accordance with this schedule that we started, in June, I think it was?
Yeah.
Right, like in June is when we started the current schedule. So what is being proposed right now is that we will continue this schedule permanently, correct?
Well,
the pilot schedule that we're on now.
So there's a slight modification to it. The modification that the current proposed pilot schedule has is based on the input from the commissioners and our residents. So we've been having some calls from residents related to recycling. So what we did was we incorporated those challenges and those inputs, not only from the commissioners, but from the citizens, and we modified within the current pilot schedule that action. So it's moved now to Wednesday, if I'm not incorrect.
The recycle.
The recycling, which was in Friday, we moved it to Wednesday. So that way, if we had any holidays within the week, it would not affect that recycling process because they had some concerns, and that's what we did.
Okay, so with that being moved to Friday, what happens to Friday?
So everything continues the same. So we have regular garbage on Monday, that's in the whole town. Then we have vegetation collection at the north side on Monday. Tuesday, we collect the vegetation on the south side. Wednesday, we're doing recycling. Thursday, we're doing bulk pickup and regular garbage. As always, garbage regular has been maintained on Thursday. And Friday now what we're doing is the special pickups, which if in any event we have a holidays, then the special pickup could either be done on Thursday or we could postpone it for the next following day, week.
Okay. Commissioner Thomas.
Would special pickup be garbage? I mean, like what would be considered
Well,
special?
special pickup is like anything that's out of the norms. Let's say you have excessive garbage of household, or you did a cleanup in your garbage and it's more than the regular vegetation. Well, if it's bigger than the normal size, which is that 5 cubic yards, then we're considered special, and we define a day to go out and pick up those special pickups because it requires a charge.
Would that mean, okay, so I got to be very careful of how I ask this question. So special pickup, because what's been happening and what I keep getting the complaints on, right, is that we'll have entities in the town that will end up putting bulk out after bulk has been picked up, right? Okay. So for the most part, your guys have already gone through, because they know the schedule, and they've done that, right? So in order for there to be a special pickup on Friday, in my mind, code enforcement would have actually had to have done a sweep to see what was available in order for your guys to go out and pick it up, or we would say that Friday would be another bulk pickup. You understand where I'm coming from? Because otherwise, then we have entities that then put it out on Sunday, knowing it's not going to get picked up until Thursday. So then it just sits out there.
So typically what we do is if we find any situation where we consider the action a special pickup, we leave a note letting them know that whatever they put out is considered a special pickup and it's going to require a fee for it. Then we communicate with code so code could do the approach again and letting them know and do the process as code. And afterwards, we would pick it up. And then we will charge the citizens for that action because it was considered as a special pickup. Normally, what we're trying to do is consolidate all those special pickups at one precise date, which is Friday, dedicate the team for that action. And it could also be used to outfall any other activity to support the town on. So whether it is regular garbage or we have to do more vegetation, we'll use that slot for Friday instead of doing the recycle.
Okay. Then, of course, now the rollout, because you're looking to this to become effective in 2 weeks, the
September
22nd, right? Okay.
Because that's the last day of the 90 days of the pilot program. We can
Okay.
extend it.
Okay. How are you looking to roll this out? Because you're right, the only change really is the recycling. That's not going to be Friday any longer. It's now going to be Wednesday. So how are you proposing that the rollout occurs? Because the last time the rollout wasn't good.
Well, yeah, hopefully this time it'll go better because it's not going to fall within a holiday. So it's going to have a better reception on.
There is a holiday. I think it's the 21st. I think there is a holiday somewhere. I think there's a holiday somewhere. It's like the 21st or something like that. There's a holiday somewhere. No, September. There's like I think it was like Yom Kippur or something like. There's a holiday somewhere in there. When is it? Okay.
Rosh Hashanah, but we are not closed, and we don't change our services.
So we would still have that, but is that like because I think okay. Okay, so there's no national holiday, so all facilities would normally be open, right? Okay. Then don't go anywhere because I was going to call you up too. Yeah, we won't have it. The other thing would be is we have our signage, and I think I've spoken about that before too, about how do we inform the public with not so much verbiage, but blanket information maybe we could do Monday garbage, north, Monday garbage north, Tuesday garbage south, just flash so that we start, there's that education that we can start doing, because I will tell you there are a lot of people, myself included, we don't spend a lot of time on social media, even though you have it all over, because it's just a lot of noise, right? So we try to close down some of that noise, and maybe just this is just regarding rollout, right? About how we would try to educate, but in very simple, forms. And the reason why I'm just bringing it out, it's because of the complaint that I heard with one, why do we have all of this bulk that's still sitting on the roads, right, after it's been picked up? And now the other thing is, how are we rolling it out? How are we making sure everyone knows it who's not necessarily into social media? And we have other, bases here. And two, is it timeliness?
So I propose, and this is something that we're going to further discuss because there are some ideas that we want to develop a video, but again, it's tied into the media. So if we don't use those sources or information sources, there will be limit to seeing the video and understanding what the video is trying to present or communicate to them. The other suggestion that I have is door hangers. But it all depends on the receptor that receives that. If he doesn't read it or he doesn't pay attention, is it being effective communication? How do we measure these effective communication? It all depends on the feedback from the citizens. We've sent letters, and a lot of citizens did receive the letter. They understood the letter, and if they had concerns, they called. Others received the letter, and they were very honest, and they said, I received the letter, but I didn't read it. So it's difficult to define the best approach to communicate something, but we could use as many resources that we have, as many means to try to communicate the final change or the change that we're trying to issue.
I also, one last thing. Well, I wouldn't say everyone, most people have mobile phones, right? Is there a way that we could do QR codes that will directly link us, where they could just, take a picture of a QR code, whether it's on the garbage or the recycle, that they're just looking at it, then it brings them to the page or whatever, it lands them on the correct platform, which may be garbage disposal because we have recycling and there's a QR code there or something. I don't know what that costs.
That's a great idea.
I don't know what it is, or maybe even like on the door hanger, because I'm going to tell you, one, I hate junk mail, and two, things that are on my door, kind of like drives me like, But if there's a little QR code on it, I'm probably more, adept to like look at something cute like that than to be reading a lot of verbiage.
We can do cute. Creation of a QR code is free.
Okay.
So if we're going to create any kind of material at all, be it a mailer, a door hanger, post, anything that's stationary, where someone could scan a QR code, the addition of a QR code is free.
It's free, okay. Yeah, I'm just really trying to figure out a way that it's simple and it's quick and it just gets the message. Because we are so inundated with a lot of, and then too, our attention spans are very short. And reading 2 sentences is a lot for a lot of people. Just speaking from a friend's perspective.
And I get it, Commissioner. It's just to find that sweet spot for us to issue and for have the best reception for our community to understand the new schedule. We'll try all means possible. We still have at least it's 2 weeks. Hopefully this time, not hopefully, we know it's not going to be a town holiday, so it's not going to create an effect. But again, it's just, this change is just driven by the input of the citizens and with the input of the town.
And should we agree to it, this will be the permanent schedule, right?
Yes, well, that's why
my
I'm
magnets,
here.
my magnets, the magnets, remember?
I know.
Okay. And I'm saying this because in the past, it wasn't this commission, it was commissions previous, where it was a magnet that they tapped on the refrigerator and they knew right away, oh, okay, these are the dates because it was a magnet on the refrigerator. So just something. Thank you very much.
Any other questions?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Rourke.
Thank you. You were talking about special pickups and bulk pickups. I want to focus on those. Why, if those are pickup entities that or items that not everybody has every time you have that day, why don't you have a system where they can call you in, especially on special, where you call in and you inform the Public Works Department, I have something out here that needs to be picked up. You actually register with the Public Works or Sanitation Department.
Well, that's a good suggestion, Commissioners, and some citizens do practice that. If they're going to put something out, they ask us the quantity, right, and what is considered a special pickup. And if once we inform them, they'll let us know that they have put a special pickup out, and we'll tell them the charge that is going to be required, and we can schedule and go pick it up. Some just put it out there, and then we let them know that it's a special pickup based on the quantity of what they placed out.
So we talk about code enforcement too. Why doesn't code enforcement match the efforts with sanitation? Sanitation is one of the most expensive enterprise funds that we have. And trying to find ways to slim down that budget through more a more productive way of approaching sanitation, to me, would be a better idea. And I think, whenever you talk about code enforcement, I'm not a big fan of code enforcement, but I do think in the town we should have a 3-strike rule where you actually use it as what the town manager has said before, where we use it as an educational process. You give them a chance, you say, hey, here it is. Hey, this is your second chance. Look, third time here, we've told you that this is the way it's done. Please work with us, so.
So your suggestion it's also excellent. We've looked at that, and independently we do perform that type of activity. So we communicate to the residents, and we educate them on what is a bulk and what is a special. We don't fine them directly, or we don't citate them directly. We give them an opportunity, but then afterwards we do. Now, we don't have a specified body that does that. We sometimes use code enforcement, or the residential lead is the one that goes out and citates them. So we don't have a body for that.
Maybe we should get a body for that, huh?
We have asked for it, but due to the circumstance of the enterprise, we're still not there. We hope to get to that point, Commissioner.
It may be an item that pays for itself if we can pare down the sanitation issues as I discussed with you last time, such as putting yard waste into our garbage disposal system.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Commissioner.
Any questions? Vice Mayor.
Just comment. Jamie, thank you for putting bulk trash back on Thursdays. It is Wednesday night, and it's about 9 o'clock. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All set? Okay. If there are no other questions, I'll entertain a motion. From someone on the dais.
I make a motion to approve item 9 of the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
We have a first and a second. Any other further discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The item moves unanimously. Next, we have on public hearing ordinance on first reading, ordinance 04-2025, amendment comprehensive plan, future land use and intergovernmental coordination elements to remove bioscience overlay. I will move this over to Ms. Karen Galanka. Are you coming up to speak? Yes, you are. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commission. Yes, Karen Galanka for the Community Development Department. This is a fairly simple item before you this evening, at least I hope. It's first reading. As you heard, an amendment to the comprehensive plan of Lake Park to repeal all objectives and policies relating to the bioscience research protection overlay, which is shown on the map in both your staff report and the ARF. And also to, said those two actions. I call this a housekeeping item, really, because the bioscience overlay was created and adopted by the town in 2008 as part of an initiative on the part of North County municipalities to bring scripts to the North County area, and all the communities banded together to show their support, whether or not they were getting scripts, and their hope was there would be spinoffs. So that initiative was deemed to be successful, and last year in 2004, the Bioscience Advisory Committee, which was part of was set up through the interlocal agreement with those North County municipalities, that advisory committee voted unanimously to recommend that they be sunsetted and that the interlocal agreement be sunsetted, and so it was. Therefore, there's no need to continue to keep those policies and objectives in our comprehensive plan. A number of them deal with coordinating under that initiative, which no longer exists. The town, this in no way would mean that the town is not supportive of bioscience. Our current zoning code allows for bioscience research and related industries, so that would continue. The advantage of this also is that one of the policies currently requires that for any change in land use in that area, there must be a 2/3 majority of the commission. And that makes it more difficult. For example, maybe there's a property that you want to change from industrial to commercial. And that would be more difficult as it's written now, because it would take 2/3 vote versus the typical simple majority. So that's why this is before you. It was approved, recommended approval by the Planning and Zoning Board and at their last meeting, and it has been legally advertised in the Post. Should you approve this, it will go to the State Department of Economic Opportunity, who's in charge of reviewing comprehensive plan amendments. They would then presumably have no objections and send it back to this body to approve on second reading. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Do we have any questions for Ms. Glonka? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve ordinance 04, 2025.
Second?
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any other further discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ordinance passes. Town Attorney?
An ordinance of the Town Commission of the Town of Lake Park, Florida, amending its comprehensive plan, providing for amendments to the text of the future land use element and intergovernmental coordination elements, providing for the amendment to the future land use map to remove the bioscience research protection overlay, providing for transmittal of the amendments to the State Department of Economic Opportunity, providing for the repeal of laws in conflict, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
Thank you for that. I have nothing on ordinance on second reading. However, on new business, we have a number of items. Again, item number 11, 13 have been pulled, so we will move to item number 12, Resolution 600925, Town of Lake Park Master Fee Schedule for fiscal year 2026. Town Manager, do you have anything, or is Ms. Gold? Oh, Ms. Mendez.
The fee schedule is presented to the commission each year, and we have redlined each of the items that were approved or proposed for changes. So as you will see in your backup for exhibit number A, each department has reviewed their proposed fees, have either redlined or blue-lined or green-lined, depending on what color they were up to, with the proposed changes. And most of us, if not all of us, are here to answer any questions you may have on those proposed changes.
Okay, thank you for that. Are there any questions in regards to this for staff? And if there are no questions, I will entertain a motion.
I move to approve Resolution 600925 and approve of the proposed Town of Lake Park Master Fee and Schedule for the fiscal year 2026.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any other further discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, resolution passes unanimously. Next, we have Resolution 610925, renewal of property casualty insurance from Florida Municipal Insurance Trust, FMIT, for fiscal year 2026. I believe this is you again, Vivian.
I will introduce Rami.
Okay, thank you.
Before you start, I was wondering, why is she still around here? She couldn't find this interesting,
could she?
Such a great meeting. Happy to be in front of you again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for staying.
I'm here to talk about insurance once again. So this is for the town's property casualty and workers' compensation program.
Casualty is good.
Casualty would have been great. So this package is currently insured by the Florida Municipal Insurance Trust. This would be a renewal of the program that is in existence with a recommended enhancement to the town's named storm deductible. I believe most of you were on this dais a few years ago when we had that extreme property insurance increase where the market was really hardened. We were looking at also an adjustment to the town's total insured values based on a recent asset survey. So it was at the time administration's decision to move to a 10% named storm deductible, meaning that that would be the cost that the town would be responsible for in a named storm such as a hurricane, tropical storm, for property damage. And we're talking about buildings, physical assets, generators, and things like that that are scheduled under that policy. With the property market today, it is in a softened environment, so they say. Rates are extremely low compared to 2 years ago when we came before you and asked for a significant increase. So this would basically move your named storm deductible back down to 5%, so cutting your maximum potential out of pocket in a catastrophic storm in half for the same, essentially the same premium, $30-something different than you pay for the property insurance today. So that is one recommendation. The second recommendation to kind of bolster and support some of the concerns with not having properly budgeted for certain expenses in the past that are a result of damages that are alleged against the town under the liability program. We're also recommending implementation of what is called like a stop loss limit. So basically limiting the amount that the town would be responsible in paying towards those claims in any one policy year. With those changes and assuming all else remains the same under the program, which it would, the proposed annual premium for the program is $535,000 and $535,347, approximately a $39,800 increase over expiring premiums. So I know that was probably way up here. Happy to try to break it down a little bit further, but essentially what I'm saying to you is you're getting property insurance with less out-of-pocket expenditures in a catastrophic storm for the same price and implementing a limitation on what you pay towards your liability claims that occur against the town in any one year for the price given.
Thank you for that. Any questions?
I don't have a question, I have a couple comments.
Sure.
This just really makes sense to go from a 10% deductible to a 5%. Saves taxpayer dollars, in the long term with regards to any storm. So very pleased that the League and Gearing was able to work with us on that. The other thing is with regards to the stop loss. We have a number of trip and falls, accidents, things like that, which before I even get into that, I want to thank Vivian and Barbara and also Debbie for being so diligent. We're having monthly meetings now at this time with Gearing, or risk strategies, I guess
Right,
is what.
yeah, and the carrier.
So we're going through the list of where we are currently on our claims. We've not been, really budgeting for those. When a claim happens, we kind of try to find the money. We budget some of it, but we're not budgeting, for all the claims that may be there. So by having this stop loss, it really helps us. It helps Barbara to be able to budget better and to be able to utilize our dollars better. And for such a small increase, to be able to save those additional dollars that we would normally maybe not be able to have another program or be able to do an infrastructure issue or make a repair, now will be covered at such a low rate. It just, or basically at our current rate, it just really makes sense. And I do want to, again, thank our staff. We had a great meeting today. We went through all of our claims. We went through where we stand, and I think there's a real understanding of where we're going and where we're at. So I appreciate the effort, from our team, our partner, but then also our staff. So I just wanted to make that comment.
Thank you. If we have questions, please do so, raise your hand, and if not, I will entertain a motion.
I move to approve Resolution 610925 and approve the renewal of property and casualty insurance with the Florida Municipal Insurance Trust, FMIT, for fiscal year 2026 with the recommended changes to the town coverage as recommended by the Gearing Group.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any other further discussion?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Rourke.
I just want to thank the Gearing Group. They've been a partner with our town for as long as I've been involved in this town. So.
Mine as well.
A number of years.
And you've always worked really hard and diligently to get us the best rates, and we appreciate your work.
I appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
As well as always being available when advisory is needed.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
a very big plus as well.
Yeah, happy to do it and happy to help support Vivian as she takes on this new avenue of her role, and great working with the new town manager as well. Excellent team you have here.
All right, so if there are no further discussions, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Resolution passes unanimously.
All right, good evening. I will be leaving now. No.
You have a good rest of your evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Resolution 620925, Senate Bill 180 lawsuit. I will turn this over to our town attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple meetings ago, I discussed with you the effort by the law firm Weiss Sirota that represents a number of municipalities in primarily Broward, Dade, and Monroe County. My recent update from them is that they now have already 8 municipalities and 2 counties that have adopted resolutions. They're expecting another 20 to 30 to do that. A lot of these communities, it's based on, of course, the erosion of home rule that keeps happening to cities, but a lot of them also, like the town of Lake Park, have plan amendments or planning studies that are ongoing, and this Senate bill obviously presents a challenge to the town should it go forward and adopt some of those planning policies or land development regulations. So the Weiss Sirota, I talked to them the other day. They're planning to file in mid-September. I know Jupiter is voting tomorrow night to join. I believe, I'm just talking about our clients. Town of Palm Beach is going to get in, and Jupiter Island is going to get in. Both of the latter 2 communities, like this town, have plan amendments that have been in the works for years to try and deal with traffic and other issues. So if you want to get in, it costs $10,000, and you adopt this resolution, that moves forward. There's also a provision in there that if it goes to the appellate level, it would be another $5,000. And if it were to go to the Florida Supreme Court, which is potentially, to the extent this is a municipal home rule issue that affects the Florida Constitution, it's a possible issue that it could go forward. The other thing that I'm hearing from lobbyists in Tallahassee is that there is discussion going on for a glitch bill to try and address this legislation. The League of Cities and others has been trying to work the room to get some movement in that regard. There may be different schools of thought, but certainly a lawsuit that challenges legislation that is adopted is for the legislature an opportunity to correct a mistake and avoid the lawsuit. So that's my report on this item, and I leave it to you to decide whether you want to jump in or not.
Thank you for that, Town Attorney. What's the desire of the commission? Any thoughts? Commissioner O'Rourke.
Well, I'm looking at a motion, and it doesn't really address what we should be doing. I would make a motion to join the lawsuit from the firm of Weiss Serota to engage in the lawsuit against SB 180.
That is your motion?
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. Any other further discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay. Next, we have Town Attorney comments. Town Attorney.
Number one, I wanted to address the situation at Second Court. I know you all are aware that they've missed their deadline for getting their, completing the building permit process in the CO. So we took a look at the town's options. An option, if the commission wants to authorize to pursue this, is a motion to enforce the settlement agreement. Settlement agreements in law are treated as contracts. So one of our theories is that the town paid $98,000, I think was the figure, to resolve the previous lawsuit. We would like to go after that $98,000 and say, you breached the contract because we paid you and you didn't complete your end of the bargain because you didn't complete it on time. The other cause of action that would probably be filed is called specific performance. That's pretty much a real estate theory. The problem with specific performance is that all the court can do is say, perform. So they've already passed their time for performing, but I think the mere filing of the motion, the hope would be that they would finally take their obligations seriously and move forward. I don't think they've ever done that. They haven't ever hired a contractor. They've preferred to do that when they're not busy with other things, and it just hasn't worked. So if someone wants to offer a motion to authorize us to file the motion to enforce the settlement agreement, we will do so.
Motion to authorize enforcing the agreement.
Second.
We have first and a second. All in favor?
Aye. I'm not in favor. I'm going to tell you why I'm not in favor.
Okay.
I wasn't in favor for us to settle it, okay? I'm not in favor right now for us to pursue another means of throwing more money at this. I would prefer for us to find them, triple find them if we have to, because we have already paid out $98,000 to them. So I have to look on that eyesore every single day. So I'm just like saying that I'm totally against it. I was against us going through to even do this process because I didn't think that they were trustworthy, and they have proved me right. So, no, I'm objecting. That's all I am.
Okay, so we have a
Further comment?
I'm sorry?
Further comment?
Commissioner O'Rourke.
Thank you. Going after the settlement doesn't preclude us from going after ordinance violations. I was by there today. There's clearly, it looks like the same place it was 7 years ago. And so I don't think it precludes fining them for ordinance violations, does it?
It does not. Thus far, I've been advised by staff there are no code violations for that property, but if there are, I mean, I'm not the code enforcement officer, so I'm relying on them to tell me if there's a violation of the code there or not.
And I'm sure there's active communication with you both on that.
Can we ask? Nadia, I hate to do this to you, but
There should be a
isn't
number
there
of
a
code
code of
violations.
violation for having
They got a pod that's been there for
pods
2 years.
and not multiple pods?
Multiple
Just one.
pods.
Yes, we did have the code officer look into that. They do have one code violation as of today, and that's overgrowth around the property. Prior to that, we did have the code officer look into all the multiple storage units, the pod, and he did say that they applied for a permit for the pod, and then the building official did say that they can have all of the storage units because they're all part of their construction. We can certainly revisit that with the building official. We had looked into it with him previously, and they do have them behind, then we had them put the perimeter fence on the property, which they've done, and they're keeping everything on the inside. But as of today, I was advised that they do have an overgrowth issue.
I dislike the fact when the property owner stated to this commission that they needed the pods to store their clothing and other personal items, okay? Because they had sold their property and had no place to stay, right? And so now it's 2.5 years later, and it's still the same pod, and it has nothing to do with construction. And so I would imagine that if the things that were getting destroyed are the same items that have been getting destroyed for the last 2 years that's been sitting there.
Yeah. Okay.
So, so my position would be that we would go back, because I was one of the persons that had suggested that if we were going to settle, then make them whole so it can say to us that we are doing this in good faith.
Yes.
Right? So my position would be at this point is to withdraw that, and then let's go back and find them from day one, from the time that they were supposed to have approved it, which was August the 8th, until where we are, and start doubling that fine. Because I am livid at this point. I've had to see it.
Yeah. And certainly those are discussions that can be had with the town attorney on the approach for the settlement agreement. And we can go back and revisit what's inside of those containers, because I know previously when the building official went out there, it was all, their personal items, construction-related items, everything having to do with having to build the home and move back in.
One more last thing. How many years they have left? Because this is year 3, right?
How many years do they have left on the construction?
No. Ownership. This is year 3. This is year 3. 3. They only got 2 more years. Do you know where I'm going with this, right?
Are you referring to the condition on the sale that said they had to?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's a windfall. It is a windfall. Okay? And I said this from the beginning. This is a windfall. So they only have 2 more years, and they have been dilly-dallying for the last 2 years. They can dilly-dally a little bit longer.
And I'm not sure if those conditions were considered when the settlement agreement was put into place. I wasn't party to that, but I'm sure the contract was reviewed when the conditions of the settlement agreement were agreed to.
Well, I'm sure they're going back to the original contract that stated to them that they had 5 years in order to live, right? And it was as is, but they sued us on as is. Do you get where I'm coming from? So I am sure that they're going to be using that to say, well, we've had ownership for it now for 3 years, although you haven't lived in it, nor have you complied with everything that the original contract had stated.
And certainly that's a legal question.
But that's what I'm saying, because we had to go and we had to get, another person from our attorney's firm that we have in order to mediate and try and litigate. And now we're back in the same situation. So no, I am totally against it. If we can start fining them, maybe we can recoup some of the money, and it's going to be more than the 98 that we actually gave them back.
And you're referring to going retroactively back to, and
because
that's the
now you've
discussion
already
that we'll need to
violated
have.
it. You have gone above and beyond. So so that's my position at this point. You breached the contract. So what was the agreement?
We can certainly have a discussion on whether or not we can legally go back retroactively.
Commissioner O'Rourke.
Yes, I'm just going to reiterate, my motion was to collect on the settlement.
Well, we had a first and a second. And a vote. There was 4-1.
Oh, we did vote already?
Yes, we did vote.
This conversation
was my reason for why.
This was just an extra additive on.
Oh, I thought we hadn't voted yet, okay.
Yeah, we had a motion, we had a second.
Thank you.
Pause, vote, 4-1, done. Town Attorney, do you have any other comments? Could you turn on your mic?
I can.
Thank you.
And have. I will not be here tomorrow night. I have a regular Jupiter Council meeting, budget meeting, first public hearing on their budget. The reason they switched it to Thursday is because there's this law that says the county commission, you can't have your budget, municipalities can't have their meeting the same day as the county commission. So I regret that I can't be here, but I'm sure that your discussion on your budget workshop will be riveting.
Yeah.
I was.
You can talk about a town manager.
It was a compliment. I heard all about it from the vice mayor.
Yes. There we go. There we go.
Oh, there is one other thing that the vice mayor asked me to address. You all have received, first there was the letter from Forest Attorney John Shubin that essentially said your vote on the postponement of the TIF meeting in September was a default under the terms of the comprehensive agreement. Our firm prepared a letter in response to that letter, and I believe that went out last Thursday. And that letter has been distributed to you. Today, a response to our response came in. Mm-hmm. The bottom line, I would say, of that response is we disagree. And so we were hopeful that we would actually spark a discussion about how we can get back on track, but I don't know, based on the last meeting we had this past Tuesday. No, that would have been, yeah. The last time we met virtually with Forrest, I don't know that we heard, yeah, let's start working on anything. So we'll see where that goes. We meet with them every Tuesday, although for at least a month, all of those meetings have been about the barge, primarily. So that issue is now resolved, and hopefully we'll get onto some type of productive dialogue and see if the parties can salvage anything.
Okay, Vice Mayor.
I got a question. First of all, I want to say thank you for working on the letter. You, the town manager, and Nadi, you guys did a great job on working on the letter and getting the letter out. I also want to ask, since we're talking about the PUD, what about the workshop to present the plans of the PUD? Where are we at with that, presenting that? Because we're getting close to December, and we want to probably know what we're going to do before we get to that point. And rather sooner than later, we can get probably a workshop on the PUD done. Do we know where we're at, or?
Well, internally, we've discussed a workshop to go over the plans that have been submitted, and as far as I know, no date's been identified for that yet.
Because we have to decide on what we're going to do by December, and it's September, so we kind of want to see a plan of what's supposed to go on, or their plan. We haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anything from them since last December, pretty much.
Well, I will tell you that during one of our meetings, we were notified at that time by their consultant, who's a former secretary of DEP, that the governor and cabinet meeting was actually postponed 2 weeks. So the 16th actually, or maybe we found out, I forget, but it was actually postponed to the end of September. That's a little important because I think that there's continued hope that we're going to push forward with the reverter clauses. And, again, another issue that's come up is the permits. My understanding, and if you all could confirm for us, it wasn't just the reverter clauses that you wanted us to hold up.
The original motion that was made was for both DEP as well as the permits.
For all permits that were related.
Yeah,
to
I heard
this
that
project.
mentioned last night, and tonight, and I thought, the look at you was like, did we approved that already, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
And so when we have these conversations with them, they're limited, they're short. These meetings are very, very short. But we're very, very adamant that, there needs to be a workshop to where the commission has input into what is going to happen with that project, assuming that the comprehensive agreement gets resolved, which at this point, we've not set any dates to have those conversations. They provided some limited, as you're aware, they provided some limited language back in like April and maybe March and April, or April and May, I can't remember. But we are adamant that during the PUD and site planning process, that there's a conversation with the commission saying, here's what we're proposing. Does this, as partners, is this what you all want? So we've notified them. They've asked, when that meeting would happen. As the attorney mentioned, we haven't had that set up yet. But, again, where do we stand with the comprehensive agreement might be a little bit more priority right now. And I think, that's kind of what we're working through with them is when we can sit down and do that. But I hear you loud and clear that we need to have that meeting, and it's important for the community to have input as well.
So, can we tell our partners that we want to have a meeting before October is out? I mean,
before the end of October.
Yeah, because if we can't get just to see what we're going into, why even go into it?
I mean, if you let us sit down and talk logistics, see timing and everything, and if we can get back with you.
Thank you.
Okay. And the clerk is reminding me that they do have I guess a mandatory or required quarterly update in October. So maybe that's the time. I don't know. If you give us some time, let us look at it. But we appreciate it.
Thank you. All set?
All set.
Okay. Town manager.
I think the budget meeting tomorrow will be riveting, and Tom will be missing out. So I do want to say, one, to you all, thank you for your support through this process. This is hard. This has been a hard issue to deal with. For our staff getting up to speed, our attorney, and you guys have been there, to support, and I can't say enough how grateful I am that you guys are hearing us. You all may not agree with everything we're talking about and what we're saying, but, there's dialogue, and I appreciate that. And so I just want to say thank you to you all. I do appreciate, the folks tonight that spoke about, an issue that did come up this week, and it was hurtful, and it was harmful professionally, and I appreciate it. So thank you for the comments. All you can do is just do your best every day, and I can assure you that that's what I'm doing, and I think what our team is doing every day, and I appreciate all of them. So thank you, and where we are. With regard to some quick updates, DEP or DOT is holding their in-person construction open house regarding the US 1 improvement project that's occurring here in the town as well as our neighboring communities in the public library on Thursday, September 4th from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. It'll be an informal open house format, and our residents can come in and attend and learn more about that process. We'll put more information out about who they can contact as well. The Lake Park Library and Coastal Karma are holding the Family Chess Club at Coastal Karma on Tuesday evenings from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. So look forward to the public coming out and participating. There has been an issue at one of our tennis courts where there's been some cracks, and so it's been closed for a couple months. We do have a cost to go forward to do some borings and to identify where we are with that and what would be required. If you guys are good with it right now, we're in kind of a very limited budget spending. But if you guys are good with that and feel that that's a community need and we need to get that done and do that investigation, we'll find the money and get it done, so that we can determine, what really needs to be done with the courts. You guys good with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
The estimates to do that are so broad. Sorry, thank you, Vivian. The estimates to do just the boring in that are so broad, there's a $6,000 split from one to the other, minimum to maximum. And I'd like to get a little closer to what it would cost us.
Yeah, we'll work on it.
All right.
We'll work on it. And then we've been asked, to do Florida Government Week or Florida City Week. It's changed from Florida City Government Week, a proclamation during the October 1st meeting. Are you all okay with that? Do a proclamation for Florida City Week?
Yes.
The Florida League.
Yes.
So,
That's
okay.
something we do every year.
And then we have our Multicultural Festival on Saturday, September 20th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. in Kelsey Park. The entire public, of course, is welcome and invited. Arts, crafts, food, beverage, vendors, live entertainment, cultural performances, games, activities, and more. Our events folks really do a great job with all of our events, and so we really do welcome our community to come out to that. And then we have our Sunset Celebration on September 26th from 6 to 9 in Kelsey Park. Unfortunately, our last one had to be canceled. It was just nasty weather, and you can hear it in Reunity's voice every time or see it in her emails. It's like, it's like, the concern is the rain going to stop? And, we have to make these calls once in a while, and sometimes the rain does stop and allows people to come out, but I appreciate your leadership in keeping our community safe and making those calls. So it's hard, but most of the time it pays off on the call. But there are going to be those times that it's hard, but I appreciate it. With that,
we also have tomorrow Florida DOT at the library, correct? You did say that? Okay, that went right by my head. I apologize. Okay.
I got a notification that it was 6 o'clock. Is that correct?
It was. We originally talked about it as that, but then I think they came back and said it was. We identified it as 4 to 7. So,
okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
So if that came on our end,
no,
sorry.
It would. Knowing me, it was probably old mail.
And then just a quick reminder again, tomorrow, budget workshop, 6 p.m. here. And then our first reading of our budget, 6. Yes. We have CRA, we have CIP, so it'll be our first CIP, where we're planning over the next 6 years, not only what is in our proposed budget, but then over the next 5 years, where we want to go with some of our projects so we can really start to plan. You'll see with some of our equipment, we'll start reserving dollars in earlier years for purchases further out. so that we don't get hit with these big, giant, one-time hits, so that we can start planning for some of these larger items, and not be stuck where if we need to do something, we're not able to do it. So that's going to take some time to get that moving, but I appreciate Barbara and Jamie being able to do that. And then we have some of the other items, some of the other cost centers that we weren't able to finish during the last meeting. But you all should have your hard copies. If you have any questions, please give me a call, give Barbara a call. We're here to answer anything in advance. If that helps move the meeting along a little quicker, we're here to help with that. But before I do, and again, I just can't thank Barbara enough. I mean, Saturday, was it Sunday or the holiday? I can't remember when we were on the phone for 3 or 4 hours. So, this is just a level of commitment that this young lady has for this budget process, but also for this community. She's only 29, so. But I can't thank Barbara enough. This process wasn't just, what we did last year, improving it. It was significantly overhauled, and I know I sent this to you on a text, but I want to say it publicly. The change in format, we're doing it as an Excel format because, we don't want to spend the money, to go out and purchase a new software right now, because the software that we're using is just not functional to be able to provide the data and the changes that we need to make so that it's transparent for the community and for you all. All the backup doesn't allow us to do that way. And that all takes one person to be able to do it. Only one person can be touching it at a time. And so we'll get, where we, look at a software, but it's significant, and it's been hard, laborious work. And I can't thank you enough, Barbara, for your help, and your work ethic on it. And I apologize if there's been delays to you all, but you guys, again, have been great and understanding and patient, and I can't thank you enough for that. And next year it'll be better. Next year and the year after will be even better. And so we'll get there. And I just appreciate you understanding where we're coming from on it. So again, thank you to Barbara, but also thank you to our staff for working so hard and getting the numbers. Thank you all for being able to have a plan for next year. So thank you for your support. Appreciate you all.
Oh, thank you. Commissioner comments. I will start on my right with you, Commissioner O'Rourke.
Starting with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Unless you wish for me to start elsewhere.
No, I just have one thing I want to mention. A very dear friend of mine, Elsie Porter, passed away last week. She's a cancer fighter. For 5 years that I knew her, and I would try to go and help her. She's an elderly woman, and she lived around the corner from me, there's some members of our town, residents of our town, that are more than just people we're acquainted with. They're really the people that make up the soul of our town. Another one was Sue. Shane, yeah, and people like that, and they've been part of our town for a while, and it's part of the process of life, unfortunately. But we're going to miss her, and I wanted to mention her name in public. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Thomas. Okay, thank you very much. Commissioner Linden.
I'm good. Richard, when do you think we'll start the budget hearings next year? We got off to a late start, and some of the towns have already finished all their budgets. How soon, based on your own experience, should we start to finish up 2 to 3 weeks before September?
Yeah, actually, I was at a luncheon today and with a number of cities, and some of them are still dealing with some of their workshops as well. I think a part of it is just because how late revenues have come out on some of it. It's just been difficult. Where I'd like to be is having our workshop at, one, maybe 2 workshops early August,
Okay.
mid-August, somewhere right around, the League of Cities conference. And then that way Barbara would have time to finish up everything, have everything printed, to where we go into our September meetings. As Tom mentioned, we have to change our meeting dates because of the county and the school board. So we're mandated by state law to change our dates. What I would like to do, and Barbara and I have already talked about it, is sitting down with our staff probably around November-ish, maybe December, to where we start talking about the CIP. My goal is to have a CIP to you early on, before we really get into, the nitty-gritty of the budget, because at least then we'll know where you want to go with your capital. Then that makes it easier for us, because when you really look at your budget, you only have probably, because salaries are salaries, right? You have your overhead, your water, sewer. We're going to buy pens and paper, those kinds of things. We're going to pay for electric. So those operational issues are what they are. So when you really look at your budget, you might have 10 or 15, maybe 20% that you're really playing with. But that, a lot of it depends on when revenues come out from the state, our grants, awards, different things like that. So my goal is we'll have a schedule for you sometime probably around February, March, like we did this year. And then hopefully go with CIP and then start presenting, budgets around June-ish, July-ish, to where August we have our first workshop. That's my goal.
Okay, that's it for me.
Okay, thank you. Vice Mayor, anything? Okay. Go ahead, Commissioner Roy. No? Okay. Okay. Actually, before you have your comment, I'm gonna make my. I'm going to go ahead and make mine first.
Yes, call dismissal.
If you don't mind. I just wanted to, and again, Barbara, I want to thank you for doing your due diligence on your part in everything when it comes to the budget. But I also want to send a special thank you also to those that do things behind the scenes in connection to those things, and that's to Lamar, who works on the communications. He did the PowerPoint presentation that you guys watched. And those little things matter just as much as the overall.
True.
Because without that, we're not seeing anything. The public's not seeing numbers. We need everybody, all hands on deck to do their part. And I just wanted to send a special thank you to him for that, for his part in all this, and the collective as a whole in doing things. It's trying times right now. There's no way to sugarcoat it, and we need to be harmonious amongst one another. The dais, the staff, and the public. We're all one component, and we all need to get through this together because we all have the same intentions in mind, and that's making this town move forward the right way. And that's always been my goal since day one of when I started here. That's been my goal before I started here or even when I grew up here. It's just to see this town move forward in the right way. And I feel we have the ingredients that matter that can make this happen. I understand that people have feelings when it comes to meetings and they get heightened by comments that are made and they want to express themselves accordingly. And Commissioner O'Rourke, you'll understand what I mean when I say this, but I have to conduct business the way it needs to be conducted. So when I say things like, we have to stop clapping, I'm not saying this as an enjoyment, because this is no enjoyment here when it comes to that kind of stuff. Because your voices do matter. They matter importantly, no different than any one of us on this dais. But I have to conduct business, because what if public comment cards were like 20, 30, 40? I still have to get all those voices heard and still conduct business. And when I say things like we need to stop clapping, we need to keep it down, it's to get this meeting going and moving forward and trying to get everybody in the narrative and not veering away. So I just want to say that on the record. I'm going to do what I have to do to make this meeting go the way it needs to go. I'm not here for any good guy moments. I'm not here for any bad guy moments. I am 100% here for this town, the people in it, and those that I work with to get this thing going forward. And that's the way my position will be to the end of my day. And we'll leave it at that. With that, I will entertain a motion of adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town manager, you can talk now.
Good night, everybody.